Good evening, one and all, and welcome back once again to La Notte Eterna here on Twitch. I am Kevin, your humble host and game master for this evening, as I have been in all the previous weeks. Tonight we are returned, had a little bit of a hiatus last week, so thank you for your patience with that. But we are back with the third and final part of the Mage Discordance, another arc in the tale of the Eternal Night. I am joined once again with my four amazing players who have been here for the other two entries. They are playing some tried and true heroes in the world of Nier, and we will see their current predicament come to a close this evening before other arcs begin in the near future. But we will get to that in a moment. First off, if you are here for the first time, thanks so much for coming to hang out. We are going to be telling a collaborative tale tonight, an ongoing story in the world of eternal darkness called La Notte Eterna. And if you are coming back, welcome back. It's good to see you again. We appreciate you being here. Feel free to chat with us all night while you're hanging out. Let's go around. Let's introduce one and all before we dive back into our story, because there was a little bit of a cliffhanger 2 weeks ago that everybody I know is just dying to resolve. So let's start, as you see, everyone, on my screen to it's my left, I think, to the viewers. Bleak Season, how you doing, buddy? Good to have
What's
you
up?
back, as always. What's up?
Thank you so much. Glad to be back. I am doing perfectly fine. I am the Bleak Season everywhere on all the socials, here, there, and everywhere. And I was just telling Kevin, is it normal that my character has no clue where the hell we are? Because like, I don't know what happened. So hopefully, it'll end good, well for us. Which, well, not to turn out right. So, we're just gonna try to survive. Just out here, just a dude out here trying to survive.
That's it. That's it. And you are returning as your character.
I am playing Kaywin, the Knight Hospitalier, with a bit of a penchant for being a little bit shady, dark, shadowy, afraid of the light. Not evil, just, just iffy.
Of course, of course. Well, awesome. I'm glad to have you back. Like I said, I'm very much looking forward to sitting and enjoying the evening with you tonight. So thanks for being
Thank
here.
you very much, sir.
Jump onto the other side. His partner in crime sometimes. Very special guest of the channel here. Creep, Darling Creep Show, how are you?
Hello, I'm here. I made it. Oh no, you're all in trouble.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
I'm Darling Creepshow. I'm just your resident creep on Twitch. I play TTRPGs like D&D, and I primarily paint D&D miniatures over on my channel. And tonight I'm playing Issa, who is a Willoy sorceress. And she's a little bit more of like a demure, kind of quiet and reserved character, which has been quite a change up for me. I've really enjoyed that. Thanks for having me back.
Yes, very, very glad to have you here. This is going to be amazing, and can't wait to see what happens tonight with your character. So thanks for being here. Let's jump down to the bottom row. Let's go on the left. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm Tim, and I'm playing Pimblebrook, the Harlequin, the Paragon Rogue, who is basically the opposite of our Willoy Mage. He is flamboyant, and it is not his fault where we find ourselves, but someone else's who's already introduced themselves, who isn't a Willoy.
Ah, interesting. That's definitely one take on it, and we'll see how that pans out for everybody tonight. Glad to have you back, Tim. It's going to be a good time tonight, so thank you. And finally, of course, not least in our hearts, Kay, how are you?
In our hearts, but not anywhere else.
Oh, well, I didn't want
Thanks,
to mean that,
kiddo.
but I didn't mean that, but
You say potato, I say potato.
oh no.
I don't say. Anyway, I'm Kay, or Kane Cosmos. That's where you can find me. But that's less important than tonight. I am returning as Racket, a Urakian foxman. So Urakians are a race from La Notte Eterna. He's a Zan mercenary, and he is a little bit rowdy. He's a little bit of a showboater. We'll see if that gets him into trouble tonight. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure it will. And that's good. That's exactly where he likes to be. So, Kay, thank you for being here. Thank you all four for being here. And again, thank you at home for being here. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and let's dive back in because the moon is up and smiling upon us all. Let's dive back into La Notte, Eterna, shall we? With part 3 of the Mage Discordance. So, when last we left our intrepid adventurers, 4 semi-strangers who were reunited in the Mageocracy of New, an archipelago of islands in a semi-frozen north of the continent just above Near. Our heroes have been brought together specifically on a little bit of a fetch quest by one of the archmages who is in charge of the Mageocracy of New, Althane. He is a Willoy scholar of sorts, and he has tasked the group with recovering an item known as the Mage Discordance, a astrolabe of some renown that has properties that might be a bit unsteady and unstable in the hands of a Willoy. Well, this, of course, was proven very true during last session, where, upon grasping said artifact, our resident Willoy, Issa, seemingly teleported everyone into the middle of nowhere, leaving the frozen archipelago island chain of New. Our heroes now find themselves in a vast desert landscape, warm yet somewhat cool night breezes, much warmer than the frozen tundra that they're used to. And as we dive back in properly this evening, when there is that brief moment between the here and the there, when our 4 heroes are pulled out of their typical activities and their typical surroundings that they're used to, there is a bit of a flash. And in that flash, there is the burning of a sun that beams down over a desert, not unlike the one that we see stretched before us. In this desert landscape, a single ziggurat stands apart from other neighboring buildings, a place of worship, perhaps. There are individuals who mill about the top of said location, and as they do, they seem to be in preparation for something. One of them specifically turns away from the others and looks off towards the south as if noticing a strange sight far beyond the vision of the others. And as this single individual looks, their eyes narrow. We see, as a casual observer into the scene, a third party upon the view here, that there is actually a ripple in the air in the midday sun sky. And in that moment, there are 4 individuals that are pulled out of something and thrust into this area. But these 4 individuals are not what we would possibly be expecting after our bit of a cliffhanger last week. These 4 individuals are darkly garbed and wear the mark of the Obsidian, a cult that worships the tyrant and does his bidding. And as these 4 characters, not heroes, come in to join the tyrant as he begins his raid on the long distant past city of the Willoy home world, we will find that that sun begins to dwindle and an eclipse blocks out the light. In that moment, the sun begins to set, possibly for the last time, in the west. And as dark sifts up and over, time elapses and finds us in the present. Now this same distant, strange land is still a desert, but it has now been touched by its own eternal darkness, much different than the eternal dark that stretches over Near. Once again, there is a strange rift in the night air, and out of that rift, 4 figures emerge, plopped onto the sand unceremoniously, and as they fight to catch their breath and get their bearings about them, the first to come through the portal, holding a ceremonial astrolabe in her hand, Issa Vidoter, you look up into the night sky and you notice that the constellations here are different. Very much different than looking up into the night sky in Near and in the Mageocracy of New, where you have been for over 100 years since you first came to this world from your home world. For now, you are on a different quest, and as you look up you are joined by your companions. The four of you look to one another, and you find that indeed you are in a vast and different landscape indeed. So as we come upon the four of you, what is it that you all would like to do?
I think Kewin sort of stumbles and sits on the ground for a minute and take a quick stock of his companions to see if anyone is wounded. I know we got into a bit of a scuffle there just before we came across. So I think the first thing you'd look at is that. Is there anyone that appears to be very wounded or sort of critical or anything like that? Are most people kind of okay?
Racket has a few scrapes and bumps and bruises, but nothing that needs magic for fixing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else?
Pim is just eyeing you with narrowed eyes and one rabbit foot tapping.
Indeed.
And at that, Kevin will look at Pam and go, "What did you do?"
Oh, not me. You.
Me.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know what this is.
Right. Yeah. You had to make me hand it over. It's not like I deal with treasure every day, you know?
And as I'm reminded that I made him hand the astrolabe over to Issa, I'll turn to Issa and go, I'll look at Issa for a moment and then, as usual, sort of avert my gaze a little bit, but look at the astrolabe in her hand and go, "Oh, you're right. Are you injured, Lady Daughter?"
No, I'm fine. She's gonna look to the sky again. I'm afraid we're not in near anymore.
How is that possible?
I don't know. Some sort of magic. She's gonna turn the astrolabe over in her hands and kind of inspect it a little more closely.
Of course. As you look upon it, no need to roll any checks or anything. You're very observant, and also you can tell, as we mentioned before, that this is an item that has been made by Willoy hands. It has a very distinct look to it. It has markings and runes upon it that you recognize as the native language of your people. You do notice that also before, when you first got it from the strange, mysterious tomb, the we'll call it a vault, I guess you could say, that you got the item from. It was inert. It didn't really have any sort of bearing. It didn't have any sort of movement to it. But now that you are here on a distant land's soil or sand, as it were, you will see that there actually is a slight glow from within it, and off kind of a silvery bluish light that streams from within it, just barely perceptible by all of you as you stand here. In fact, if you weren't standing in the dark of the night, you probably wouldn't even notice it. That's how not bright it is. But it's very observant here. The moon is above you all, full, you notice, but nothing that is going to be bright enough to really offer any sort of contrast with the very vast different sands around you. But the astrolabe itself does seem to have bearing to it. It seems to now be moving slightly. The face of it, the dials are tuning in and seem to be focusing on something in the distance, off to the east.
I'm sorry. How do you know that we're not on near anymore? We could simply be in a different part of the continent. Maybe I'm not much of a navigator, but
Yeah.
I'm afraid not, Kaywin. These aren't our stars. The
Wait.
astrolabe seems to be pointing at something. Perhaps we should follow it.
but
It's our only clue.
wait a moment. If we're not in near anymore, does this mean that the sun is going to come up at some point?
I'm afraid I can't answer that. But if my suspicions are right, I would say not.
There are other places that suffer the same fate as near.
I'm afraid so.
Do you know how many? Do you know these places?
I can't say. I don't.
Do you know this place?
I'm not sure. Maybe. This astrolabe. It was crafted by the Willoy. And she's gonna kind of like point at some of the writing on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's our language. Strikes me as odd that it would work here, but not in Nier.
But you said it wasn't working in here, but isn't it what brought us here?
Yeah. With these lights, she's gonna point out the glow. It's as though this place brought it to life.
Or you did when you took it? Because you're Willoy.
Could very well be. I only have my suspicions.
Do you think that the Archmage who sent us here knew this might happen?
I couldn't say that either. I feel if he would have known, then he must have a great deal of trust in us and this mission. He wouldn't send us here without that.
I certainly hope he lives up to your lofty ideals of him.
I've known him for almost 2 centuries. I trust him.
As you say
so we
that,
trust people, but what? Why go any? How do we go anywhere? Have you tried walking on this stuff? His feet are sliding in the sand. This is. I don't even know what this is. This is gross.
yeah, it is sand, but it does seem to be different. It seems to have a different kind of thickness to it. Like it moves around different. It's not as dry as the sand that you're used to. So yeah, even that feels odd. As the 4 of you stand here, kind of contemplating and trying to figure out exactly what might be going on, Racket, you hear something, catches your keen ears, something off in the distance towards the east. It almost sounds like a very distant, very, very subdued.
Okay. I do a very dog-like pointing stance towards the sound, and I hear ominous laughter from that way.
That's the same direction that the astrolabe
is.
is pointing.
Yes.
At least someone's having fun.
I mean, is it fun if they're laughing in this place? Or is it madness?
I don't know, but seems to be the only option we have at the moment. We may as well go and see. I mean, if they're laughing, they can't be all bad, can they?
Yeah, I could think of a few people who'd be laughing who I wouldn't be laughing.
That's a great point.
Well,
Pem, you've seen things, it sounds like.
Hmm?
Seems like, Pem, maybe you've seen some things in the past that would make you have that opinion, eh?
Yeah. There was that lord at one time. Yeah, no, that's just a dark story.
I think we need any more darkness to weigh upon us here.
Yeah, I'm still blaming you. You know that.
I accept. For once, Pam, you're right. It is my fault.
I want that in
I
writing.
brought you on this, and
In writing with your signature.
if we get back, Pam, I will give it to you.
Okay, well. So we go toward
let's go take a look
laughter
at this laughing.
and weird things pointing at things.
Who will take up the lead as you all begin to make your way in that direction?
Since I have the astrolabe pointing us, I'll go ahead and start making my way first.
Oh, I don't know if I'm letting you go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead of you.
Very well then.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay near Issa, of course,
Of course.
with my shield.
And Kaywin, as you stand next to
Probably
Issa,
crush.
of course, averting your gaze, not meeting her own, there is a certain unease that comes to you because the dark here feels different. You can't really explain what it is, just a weird unease that you have. The Karevi are home in the dark on Near. It's been 161 years since the night came and stayed, was the sun no longer rises. And in that time, the Karevi have had a very tight communion with the darkness. They are a people that have been instinctively tied to that darkness, but you feel out of place here. You feel like the dark here is. You've heard this with other races before, specifically with children, that the dark here kind of makes you afraid a little bit. There's a little bit of a creeping, like something is out there in the dark watching you, something other.
As we walk, I'll say, I have to admit, to my shame, I normally feel welcomed and comfortable in darkness, but there's something wrong with the darkness here, something different. It's almost feels as if it is alive and malignant in some ways. The darkness where we come from is just a state of the light, but here it feels wholly different.
And as you all walk along, Racket, his words kind of speak to you a little bit. Being a mercenary, you have not always had the easiest of times in your traveling across Near. And as that laughter echoes in your mind, can you tell us a memory that flashes up to the surface of your psyche? Perhaps a moment in your past where you became the hardened warrior mercenary that you are, like a moment that created who you are.
I think it was, I had a rough childhood, rough teenagerhood to, to even start work as a mercenary. And I think only a few jobs in, a friend that I had entered the Xan. How do you say the mercenary?
It's the Zan, yeah.
Xian mercenary group with, and uh, they they kind of triple crossed our boss and threw me under the bus for it. And so I ended up working for that pit boss for a while to kind of make up for that. And I had to do some things I didn't like, and I I stopped really trying to trust anyone, but found Kaywin and Pem, and it's been good, been better.
Yes, it does seem to be better with friends. And you do, like everyone else, you do feel a bit better knowing that you're with the other three as you make your way. As you're all walking along, there is a little bit of a movement along the robes that Issa is wearing, and there is a small creature about the size of a small dog that seems to slither out of her collar, loop around her shoulders, and lazily hang across her shoulders. Uh, a creature that is a off-white color. It seems to glisten slightly in the moonlight here. None of you have seen this before, except for you, Issa. You are familiar with Othalia and who exactly and what exactly this creature is. Could you explain to us a little bit your connection with your Yam Yam companion?
So for me, Othala is like a memory of an ancestor from the Walloi, and it's a very deep connection with Othala. Uh, the actual rune Othala means home, and to me, that's a piece of my home that no one could ever take away from me. That will always travel with me, even though my own home has been destroyed long time ago. So I really treasure this connection with Othala.
Absolutely.
Is it
I
the first
also
time we
want
see-
to
Sorry. Is
to
it the first time we
note.
see it?
Oh, sorry.
Is it the first time we see it?
It's the first time the three of you have seen this creature. Yes, you can tell that it's not hostile. You can tell it's definitely this creature is making its presence known to be closer to Issa. It's not attacking. It's not something sinister. Almost looks like a pet, but closer communion between the two of them.
Sorry for cutting you off, Creek.
No, you're fine. I also want to know, or I also wanted to note that as we're walking along, she's got a hand in her pouch, and she's rubbing something in there, and she's kind of whispering to herself, and touches her chest, and as she does that, she casts mage armor on herself
Absolutely.
as additional protection.
Was
We s-
that thing there all along? I say, pointing at.
Oh. Yes. Othala's always been here. Othala goes with me wherever I go.
A strange and interesting creature. Bring my finger forward to try and pat it on the head.
It seems to enjoy it.
Animals usually recoil at my presence. Interesting.
As the five of you now, continue to walk along, there is suddenly a structure that comes into view on that eastern horizon. It is a tall structure, triangular in shape, a semi-tiered building. Issa, you would also recognize what a ziggurat is. The buildings of your homeworld are all made in this nature, and some of this same depiction has made it over into Nier as well. This one, however, is much larger than anything that you have seen in your time since you've left your homeworld of Yalamra. The rest of you see this triangular structure, and although you've seen things like this before, you've never seen something this elaborate. It, like the astrolabe that she has, it has various runes and carvings and markings upon its surfaces. And as you all get closer and closer to it, you're about maybe 5, 10 at most miles away from this thing at this point when you see it on the horizon. That's how far and barren this area is. You see that different peaks of light emerge from it, warm oranges, as well as that same silvery blue that comes out of the top of it, a observatory type level that is open to the elements, and the astrolabe starts to thrum in succession with the bluish silver at the top of this ziggurat.
By seeing this, does this kind of confirm my suspicion to me of where we are?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Have I ever seen this specific building before?
This specific building you have seen before. It is a specific observatory that is specifically built to study the stars. There was a bit of a prophecy among the Willoi that there would be a time where a rain of fire would come down from the heavens and burn through the history of your people. And so this building specifically was erected for the purpose of studying these strange bits of fire that would come down from the heavens. And the practice of studying these things, these meteors, as the people of Nier call them, is a practice that you yourself still obtain. Being a meteor hunter, you have followed this practice into Nier as you've been there as well. So you are aware of the observatory and what exactly it is. Absolutely. And in that brief moment, you have a flash of memory of you and Althane kind of meeting for the first time within this building specifically. So it has a bit of a personal touch for you as well.
I think the party would see a deep look of sadness wash over at Issa in this moment. And she kind of slowly lifts her hand to her face. I'm home.
Did you say home?
It is as I suspected.
Not to be a drag, but what is?
This place. This is where I come from.
Okay.
This building is where I met Althane for the very first time. It's a very special place.
I was just wanting to ask if it's common knowledge that the Willoi are not from Nier.
It's not common knowledge. It is common knowledge that the Willoi are from a distant land. I would think that specifically the fact that they are actually literally from a different actual planet is something that the Willoi probably keep a secret from most people. So I think the other three of you are kind of learning that for the first time now.
Okay, well, I think I would think what I'm about to say, which is, so we're on a different continent, perhaps? On Nier?
Well, this doesn't look like an island.
No. The Willoi come... It's easier to explain that we just come from a distant land.
And that's
it's
where we
easier
are.
to comprehend. But somehow we've traveled space. I know this might be hard for you to understand, but when I say these stars aren't the stars of Nier, it's because we're on another planet.
Is that a concept that we understand? Another planet?
Yeah, I think you would understand that. Yeah, for sure.
What's your intelligence rating?
Yeah.
I got a 12, you know.
I'm just angry then.
My 12 intelligence. I'm barely getting it.
So let me see. This was your land, and the darkness came here first,
Yes.
and then you came to Nier.
Yes.
We got scammed.
Did you bring the darkness with you?
GM?
Not technically. Basically, the tyrant, when he attacked your world first and did the magic necessary to bring down the city of Seven Runes, that magic, this would be what you would know specifically of how kind of everything has happened in the time you spent studying everything. The magic that he used to bring down the circle of the protectors, I guess you could say, of your world has marred the magical connection to Nier and made it fall into eternal darkness. So you didn't technically bring it so much as the tyrant inflicted it upon the two worlds.
So it kind of like reverberated out and just kind of spread from our world.
Yeah, that'd be a great way to summate that.
tyrant.
Yeah.
So does that mean that our world shared a sun then?
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, you'd be in the same solar system, basically.
Right.
You're close enough to be here. Yeah.
You see, she's kind of at a loss for words because she doesn't really quite know the best way of going about explaining to this to you all, to people who haven't studied the stars all their life.
Yeah.
The easy answer is no, we did not.
Wait a minute. We're on another planet. That means there's treasures here from another planet.
You can't fence them at home if we can't get back home.
I mean, when's the last time I dealt with the escape plan first?
I mean, yeah, fair.
So, that big pointy building, that's got treasure in it. Right?
If our treasure is the same treasure, then yes. But I believe our treasure might be very different, Pem.
There was an answer in there, but I missed it.
I will say that as this is going on, Kaywin seems very affected. He is shaken to his core right now because this completely changes everything he's believed all his life. And I think he probably kind of walked away a little bit and is kind of just staring at this cigarette and whatnot. And he'll probably just sort of sink down to his knees and kind of slump down and is just really, you can tell, he's just like roiling emotion, just very confused and very sort of thrown off his horse right now.
Absolutely.
Well, wait a minute. She says, if our treasure is their treasure, then probably not. So that means their treasure is something different than our treasure. So it wouldn't be traditional treasure. It would be, hey, Kaywin. Hey. Pull yourself together. There's treasure that's not our normal treasure here. We need to get some.
How about you get a head start, Pem, and I am gonna go crouch, kind of in solidarity with Kaywin.
Whoa, what is that thing? Pim just suddenly saw.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that safe?
Pem seems to be very confused about this entire process. Everybody seems a bit rattled, you would notice.
There's so much. Okay.
While Pem is working out
Yes.
whatever equations are happening in his head,
Yes.
Issa is gonna move over to Kaywin, and she's gonna crouch down in front of him. For what it's worth, I'm very sorry. I never intended for you to come here. I myself never intended to see this place again. Do know that I will do everything I can to get us back to Nier safely.
What did cause the darkness here. And he's looking you straight in the eye. It's something he's never done before.
A man. He was known as the Tyrant.
Good to know.
It was...
Why?
I think some people just do evil to be evil.
That makes no sense. Why? No. There has to be a reason. Was this a god? Did your people offend him? Did someone try to? There has to be a reason. Things like this can't just happen. Can you imagine what it would? The very idea of living in a world where this can just happen, that the sun can just go out because someone chooses to be. Things have to have a starting point. They have to have a reason. There has to be a meaning to it. It can't just be because someone is callous and uncaring and evil. There has to...
It was greed and power that stole my world.
Yes. There's nothing. There's only death. Look at this world. This world is completely empty. It grabs a handful of sand. It's dust. Where's the power in this?
There is no power here anymore. Yes, Kaywin. This is a very different world than what I knew.
You said earlier that you've known Ulthane for 200 years.
Almost.
It's been 160 some years since darkness came, so you remember a time when there was light on Nier. You remember what it felt like.
I remember the sun, yes.
Tell me.
She's gonna reach out and take your hands in her own and kind of cup her hands. And at the center between your palms, you're gonna begin to feel a warmth and a heat that grows there. It was beautiful, Kaywin. It was a great golden light that enveloped everything. It brought life and love. And as she slowly pulls your hands apart, you'll see in the center is a small image of a golden glowing orb. And its light is touching your face, and you feel the warmth of that light as it touches you. It is life. It is hope. I'm so sorry you never got to see that.
So this is what we lost.
I'm afraid so. And she slowly kind of bows her head in regret. And as she does so, the light and the warmth dim until there's nothing but the cold air of the desert left.
And as that image goes away, leaving the four of you in the dark once more, the moonlight only above. That very, very faint bluish silver light that comes from the top of the cigarette suddenly flares brighter. And from where you're standing, Pem, you turn to see what looks to be an opening emerge at the top of this structure, almost like a curtain being drawn open. It almost looks like a doorway.
Another door. Okay, well, Galen, while you try to figure out how, like, evil can be evil, which, in all honesty, all you gotta do is spend about 2 weeks with the bloody darts and you'll see plenty.
Pam,
Anyway,
the bloody darts have never known the sun. The bloody darts have lived in darkness all their lives. Their evil is petty and insignificant compared to the evil of someone who would have known this light, someone who would have known the sun and would have chosen to extinguish it.
Kaylin, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm just gonna say I've seen someone put a child to bed, if you know what I mean. Evil's evil. There's no pettiness, it's just what it is. I'm gonna go check out that pointy door thing. If there's no light here, then maybe that's all that there is left. So I can't sit around here, it's too creepy.
I feel that if there is a way to leave, and she stands from her crouched position, that we may find it inside of there. Is a place of science and research where we once studied the stars. What we'll find there now, I don't know, but it's all we have.
She makes a
Karen
valid point.
will get up and grab Racket and help Racket up. Sort of put an arm around Racket's shoulder and I look at
Racket-
Issa and go, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Racket is bristled. Racket is pissed off that this exchange happened. At some point he wants to whisper sweet nothings into Issa's ear, but
By sweet nothings, you mean a dagger. I will, however, as we're standing up, I will. Kevin will look at Issa and say, I realized that I never had hope before, and I realized that seeing what we've lost could be a cause for, well, even less hope. But I want you to know that what you've shown me, while it has also wounded me in a way that is difficult to articulate, it has also shown me what is worth fighting and dying for. And this, what you held in your hands, I spent my entire life trying to understand why it happened, and I think why it happened is not important. What's important now is to find a way to bring this back, to give as many people as possible a chance to feel what you felt. And he's going to reach on just very, very, very slowly and very sort of non-threateningly touch your face a little bit just below the eye, to feel what this skin has felt and to see what these eyes have seen. And please forgive me for having touched you this way, but it's the closest I've been to the sun.
When he touches her, she definitely cants her head into the touch and kind of closes her eyes for a moment and then focuses back on him. I'm happy to have given that to you, that hope. And I hope that we can bring that hope back with us.
It's the only fight worth fighting. You okay, Racket?
Yeah. Well, let's go check out that door that Pem saw. And as he goes by, he wants to lean into Asa's ear and say, "You knew, and you used him," and just keep walking past.
Yeah. Hey, when there's stuff that you say, I mean, I'm glad you're done with the why, but like there's gold to fight for, there's treasure to fight for. I'd even fight for like some good quality wine at this point. Like plenty to fight for.
As Pem is talking, Racket, you storm past the three of them and start making your way up the ziggurat towards this glowing doorway at the top of it. And your anger is drowning out other motions and other sounds of the night. You don't actually notice at first that there is a miasmic shadow that swirls around you slightly. It's a little bit distance away. It swirls almost like something in flight, moves around you and lands on a small perch on one of these levels of this ziggurat. After a few moments of it watching you climb higher, it takes to the sky. There is a winged humanoid shape that moves across the moon that is unobserved by all of you for a moment before it turns its trajectory and swings down towards the ziggurat once more. And at this point, Pem, you are continuing up towards the top to try to find some treasure, as you oft do. Please make a perception test for me.
That is a 17.
Okay. You see that there is something large, something that looks humanoid, but is probably closer to 8.5 feet tall. And as it streaks through the night on black wings that seem to match a shadow, it rockets down towards the ziggurat and lands on the steps, probably about 20 feet above where Racket is marching. Racket doesn't seem to notice this thing at first because Racket, you could tell, is just storming with purpose. Now, I don't think you're observant enough or tied in enough to Racket's state of mind to know that Racket is basically pissed off right now. But what you can notice is that Racket doesn't seem to notice this thing. And as it lands, you see that it actually lands next to a pile of something on the stairs. And as this thing starts to poke and prod at the pile, you start to notice that as it moves and pulls, it pulls long claws down into this pile. And as it stretches its hands away, there are tendrils of skin and something beneath skin that stretch along and snap with it. And there is a faint shimmer of something from within this pile that you now notice in the moonlight as you draw closer is a body this creature is feeding upon. You see that this creature is black, almost as the night itself, semi-formless features on its face, very long and gaunt. The wings are the same, leathery. You would swear this thing is a demon or maybe even a devil because you've heard tales of things like that. But what this thing is, you've never seen before. It continues to make work with the body, and it doesn't seem to notice you all for a moment until Racket moves within distance of the thing, and it slowly stops, and its gaze starts to linger over towards Racket's direction. And Racket, as you are moving forward, you notice, as you look up towards the door, coming back into your senses for a moment, you see this creature crouched on top of clearly a dead body, a person wearing robes that seem to be somehow new yet old at the same time. The body doesn't seem to be withered or decayed, even though a lot of time has passed here, as Issa has told you. And this thing looks like it's in mid-feast, I guess you could say. Its eyes meet yours, and in that moment, you hear on the wind that same... and its eyes continue to lock with yours.
I'm gonna yelp and get into a fighting stance.
Pem's actually gonna call out for Racket and pull his short bow out.
Okay. And as Pem calls out to Racket, as Racket leaps back, grabs a hold of the weapons, it is then that it will be Issa and Kaywin. You hear the sound as well. You look up, you see this same creature. It is between you all and the doorway, this strange hunter of sorts in the night. And as it sees you all, it sees Racket going into a motion like it's going to fight. This creature throws its head back and shrieks. I need everybody to roll initiative, please.
Yeah.
And I will bring up our battle map this evening. It was brought to us by our great friends at
That's
Neutral
what I'm talking about.
Party,
Right
who do
there.
amazing, cool stuff. Yeah,
Should
baby.
do that scream again, Kev. It gave me a
Okay.
shiver.
Ooh, nice. So I will. You guys should be able to move your characters, but you're going to basically be like here. Yeah, there we go. Pem's moving. I like it. I like it. Something like that. No, this thing was like here. Okay. So, what did everybody get? Let's go ahead and start with Racket.
I got a 10.
And
I'm not prepared.
10. Oh, that's
You are
okay.
not
And
prepared.
Pem?
26.
Oh boy,
Jeebus.
Pem was prepared. How about Issa?
15.
Okay. And Kaywin?
18.
18. And this creature will go on 14. Okay, so Pem, as you see this creature, it throws its head back and shrieks. There is a ripple that goes out through the night, a fear that kind of moves through you. And what do you do? You are the first to react.
I loose an arrow.
Okay, alrighty.
I've had him tucked in on my hip from the very beginning, but never had much use for these. But
That sounds perfect right now.
That is a dirty 20 to hit,
Oh yeah, I think that'll do it. Yeah, for sure.
and that's gonna do. Oh, max. So that's 11 piercing.
Okay. I feel compelled to ask you, what type of weapon is that? Is that magical in nature, or is it just
This is not a
mundane?
magical short bow.
Okay, that is good to know. So you said 11?
11.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and yes, you fire at it. The aim is true. There is a arrow that blooms in this thing's chest, and it doesn't seem to be too deterred by that. There is that same shimmer that I mentioned before that was coming out of the body that is crumpled on the steps, and as that shimmer suddenly breaks and it starts to fade away, it almost looks like a spirit of some sort that was coming out of this body just kind of permeates and fades off into the dark of the night around as this thing is interrupted in whatever it was doing to the body. Kaywin, from where you are positioned a little bit further down the ziggurat, you notice this thing, and I think because you are a man of God, you are a cleric, I think you will instantly be able to tell that this is an undead creature. Specifically what kind of creature, you might not be too sure, but you can roll if you want to try to determine if you do know what this creature is.
I would. I'm just surprised to be on a different world and to recognize a creature, but what do I know about? What am I rolling?
Just a religion test, please.
Religion test. There'll be a 19.
Okay. You have seen these creatures before, I think, with a roll that high. You have seen them on near. You have actually not encountered one before, but you have heard tales of soul hunters. They are creatures that specifically were basically created magically to dispose of things that are dead. And so basically these things move around, they fly around, they hunt out spirits or lost souls, and they feed upon them almost like a vampire would. So yeah, these things are a little bit a bump in the night type creature. These are not typical things you would find in a typical night near, but you do know they exist. The fact that one is here, that's kind of weird. But it is your turn. I'll have it be a free action for you to kind of do that test and find out.
Thanks. He'll sort of lifting up his shield, stepping in front of Issa. He will present his shield, which has his holy symbol on it, to the creature, and we'll say, a natural beast, you have your foul taint will not be tolerated here, and then we'll attempt to turn, or rather destroy undead if I roll high enough, but we'll attempt to do that.
Absolutely. Yes, go right ahead. So
Well, it's not me, it's you. You have to make a saving throw.
that is perfect. Of which ability?
Working on it.
Okay,
I don't know these things.
that's okay.
I don't know.
You're just doing regular, just
undead,
destroy.
Wisdom saving throw DC 14.
Wisdom saving throw. 15 on the die, making a 17 total.
All right. So he made a save. What do you want me to tell you? It feels nothing but contempt for me and my god.
That's it. You you bring forth the symbol of your god. It's emblazoned upon your shield, as you mentioned. There is power that strums out of it, but that power, your god, although you have faith, your god does seem to be distant. Maybe he is not quite here in the moment with you, as this thing, this creature on this different world, notices that you are a divine person, and its eyes do narrow at yours. Definitely has a dislike for you now all of a sudden.
I'll say, well, that didn't work. I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. This thing is an undead creature. I will say, hoping to let them know that they need to use magical means of injuring it.
Absolutely. And with that, Issa,
I
you
do
will be
a
up.
bonus action.
Oh, yeah, of course, please, yeah. Sorry for.
I don't even know if I have one, to be perfectly honest.
Well, if you do, you certainly can use it.
No, nothing that I can really throw down. Oh, it wasn't a spell, right? It was not a spell, so I'm going to drop my.
No, it's just a regular. It's just a regular. Yeah, it was basically.
Yeah, so I'm going to draw my spiritual weapon.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And in doing so, we'll drop it just behind it. It is a golden sword that drops down. We'll make an attack and roll a 1 and complete it. That's it for me.
A natural one?
I rolled an actual 1.
Okay.
Yep.
That's all right. Yes, there is a spiritual sword that emerges out of the night. It swings through at this creature, and it does miss. It seems to just be semi disposed of by its wing that kind of moves and flaps around it, almost like shadows that move through the night, trying to get a little bit of a better armor. And with that, Issa, it'll be your turn.
Yes, I hold my hand out towards this creature, and I start muttering my incantations, and a beam of blue-white comes from my palm and shoots towards this creature, and I cast Ray of Frost.
Oh, yes.
And that is 24. I'm gonna go ahead and say that probably hits.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right.
I love it.
Let's see, that is 2d8 damage. So 6 damage.
6, okay. Yes, there is ice that correlates out of the night. It blasts into this thing's chest, and you see it actually get knocked back slightly away from the body that it was picking at, and it does get moved back from it. Doesn't move from where it's positioned, but just you can tell that seemed to hit it a little bit more than the other attack with the arrow did. So, doing a little bit more damage. So that was very helpful. You want to move at all, or do anything else?
I'm gonna stay right where I'm at.
Perfect. Okay. With that, this creature, seeing that all this is going down, it's going to again throw its head back. It's going to jump up off of where it is perched by this dead person, I guess you could say. And it is going to actually leap down directly in front of Kaywin and try to attack him. And in the process of doing so, you'll see that this creature, as it moves forward, it jumps down. There are attacks that it lances out with these very long, kind of strangly looking fingers. They're jointed in ways that are unnatural. The fingers are twice as long as they should be on a regular hand. They have extra joints as well. They are tipped with razor sharp claws that swipe out at your face, Kaywin. The first attack is going to be a 28.
Excuse you.
Yes. The second one, however, because it has 2 attacks, you will soon find, is going to be a 17.
That hits on the nose.
So they both hit them. Okay.
Damn you.
All right then. So as the one just slices through you, just shrieking, there is that same laughter that ripples out of the night as well. You are going to take, I will tell you the 2 damages separate in case there's anything specific.
No, there's nothing but good.
Okay. You are going to take 12 points of necrotic damage and 15 points of necrotic damage.
Well, and I'm
Please
dead.
make a Constitution saving throw. Okay.
Well, I'm dead with that. Do I still make the Constitution saving
You're
throw?
dead with that?
Yep.
Oh my. That's not
Crumple to the ground.
great. And that's your healer, everybody.
It's funny because just before this started, the kid was like, "Yeah, I should be trying to kill you guys," and here I am.
Oh no. Okay.
No, I know. It's not. Normally
Is
it
that
wouldn't have, but I was still injured from the last fight. So,
I
so yeah, do you want me to make the Constitution saving throw anyways? What's going on with that?
Because you drop, you don't need to make the save. It's fine.
Okay, I do drop.
Yeah, so Kaywin falls, his shield on top of him. And with that, Racket, you see Kaywin fall.
Yeah. If I was a barbarian, I'd go into a rage, but I'm gonna start. I'll take out my sickle and my little hammer, and I'm gonna start trying to slice this bad boy up.
I love it.
It's
I
called
get
the
2
Soviet
attacks.
Union attack.
Yeah. So that's a 13 on the first attack.
Okay, you swing through with the first attack, and it misses the creature. It is semi-blended into the night. You don't have a good enough aim, unfortunately, in that moment.
The second one's 24.
The 24, though, that second swing, you do find purchase. You kind of cleave through its back. And what's the damage on that?
All right, let's see. That is 7, but because I used a slashing weapon, what does it say here? So I reduce the speed of the target by 10 feet until the start of my next turn. And I haven't scored a critical hit, but I get a extra thing when I do that, so.
Nice.
And you know what? I'm gonna action surge because I'm freaking out, I think. So I'll
Oh,
take
yeah,
another
okay.
2 attacks if I could.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that first one's 21.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is 21 again.
Okay, absolutely, yeah.
So that is another 7 and 8.
All right.
Yeah, and that'll be
Yeah.
my turn, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you miss with that first attack, you bite in with that second one, slice through its lower back. You are going to press the advantage. You move in around its one wing, and you just stab it twice with that same sword right into its side. And there is blackish strange oily blood that splashes out over you, out of this thing's side. It looks it looks like it is not enjoying that. You'll notice. And back up to the top with Pem.
I'm sorry, Kevin. Can I bring up
Yes.
something?
Please do.
I have, as a Karevi, I have a thing called Shadowy Path. And what that does, it's a reaction. Now, what that does is, as a reaction, I can partially merge with shadows until the end of my turn. Whenever a creature targets you in an attack while you're merged with shadows, roll a d20 on a roll of 11 or higher, the attack misses. But it doesn't say it's in reaction to what. So I'm just wondering if it's just something that I have to call out whenever. But my understanding of a reaction was that it has to be triggered. So is this something that, as I'm about to get hit, I can trigger?
Yeah, it
Or
sounds
is
like
it
kind of
something that I have to say, well, I'm going to trigger it for this round and have it on, kind of thing.
No, that sounds like to me that the reaction would be similar to, like, let's say, imagine like a shield spell for a spellcaster, where you kind of, as you're getting hit, you can kind of merge with the shadows and kind of move around that.
So I might do that. I'm sorry, just because I'm reading through my stuff and I didn't remember
Yeah, of
that.
course. No, that's fine. It's a new race for you, so we're all learning together. Not a problem at all. Do you want to do anything with the 2 hits as you just took with that?
Well, so basically, once I get that first hit, I would do it, and then make you roll, and if you roll a 11 or higher, you'd miss that attack, or one of them, which would leave me not dead.
Okay. Well, actually, that is. It's a 14, so that is higher than 11. You said, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So
And-
that's second damage, which was 12. You will not have taken then.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll say that after I got hit the first time, I would have
Sure.
reacted with it, and so that second one, cool. Hey, I'm not
Okay,
that
yeah.
guy.
Not a problem. Yeah. So instead of dropping completely, basically, Kaywin, he goes down to a knee and he's clutching at himself like that. Really, really hurt. You can see that as he's doing so, his features semi-merge with the night. There is he becomes semi intangible almost looking for a moment, like you can kind of partially see through the moonlight's not quite bouncing off of his very pale skin as it typically would. I think Racket, your turn still goes the same. You're just, hey, it's my friend, and you just kind of go gonzo on this guy, and
You made him use the darkness. Stop.
that's right, exactly. And yep, exactly. We'll cut up to the top of the round with Pem, as we were just about to. Good catch, Bleak. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you want to know more about the Karevi folks at home, feel free to go over to Lanata Turner's website, download the Quick Start Guide. All the rules for playing one right inside.
That's a really fun race, actually.
Yeah, they're very cool. You got a lot of really cool backstory stuff too. So, but anyway, Pem, what are you doing, my friend?
Well, Pem's gonna drop his short bow,
Okay.
draw the rapier, slip around beside Racket,
Mm-hmm.
and with a friend 5 feet next to him, he's gonna attack with advantage.
Ooh, yeah, absolutely.
And he is going to get another 21.
Oh, 21 window works. Yeah.
All right, so that is right 3d6, so 1d8 plus. So that's 12 plus 12, so 24 piercing as
Beautiful.
he slips around and thrusts like right behind Racket's. I was gonna do it eventually. Racket's like triple stab. That rapier comes almost to the same spot.
Absolutely. Yes, I love it. Very cool. All right. Turning the tide a little bit as you all working in unison together, taking on this foul creature. Kaywin. Ouch.
Yeah, being somewhat in pain, I think
Yes.
Kewin's going to take a moment to physician heal thyself. So I'll start by doing the bonus action attack with my my weapon. I'll move it, and a natural one again. Fucking
Oh
weapon.
no. Okay. Okay.
You're fucking ripping. But I will go ahead and give myself cure wounds.
Sure.
To
Because why not, right? Why not have another natural one?
Exactly.
Not a problem.
I'm not gonna use it at that level. I'm gonna use it at this level. All right, so I'm going to physician heal thyself. I get 11 plus 3, so 14 back.
Nice.
I think that's what you took as far as damage.
It's almost, I'm almost back at where I was up front.
Yeah, I think it was 17 you were taking. Yeah.
And I'll just, I'll sort of, while I'm still kind of on one knee and sort of just holding the shield up, I'll put a hand to my chest and call upon my god's favor and heal myself, and then I'll stand back up again to sort of protect Issa, which, let's not kid ourselves. She's way more powerful than I am, but, leave this poor man his delusions.
Hey,
And, stand up again.
Okay.
You go, keep at it!
Mm-hmm. Issa, you hear his call. You see that he just got winded. You thought he fell, but he just must have gotten winded for a moment. He seems to be okay. What do you do as you kind of reconfigure, reposition yourself here?
How is this monster looking?
It looks injured. I would say it definitely is not out of the fight quite yet, but you can tell that definitely the magic seems to be working better than the mundane attacks are.
Okay. Yeah, I hold my hand out, and I begin to speak my I can't talk tonight. Incantations, and another blue-white streak, just a beam comes out of my hand of cold, and I'm gonna hit him with that ray of frost again.
Nice.
That is 19.
19 hits exactly, so you are right on the money with that.
Sheet. And 10 this time.
Oh, okay.
And Kevin,
Yes, sir.
that rapier is magical.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I
to
didn't
know.
mention it before.
That's good to know. Yep, I had not made a note of that, so I'll adjust something real quick then. Cool. Alrighty. Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, you blast into it. The ray of frost, just ice shards are starting to form on the outside of this thing's skin. The kind of steamy heat of this creature's natural body heat is starting to freeze on the outside of it. Although you do notice that part of the spell is kind of moving through its form, but mainly getting purchase on it. You can see that it kind of, in a way, not unlike what you just saw Kaywin do. It's kind of semi-merging with the night as it's moving around. It is its turn, so it is actually going to snap its wings down, and it blasts up off of the ziggurat into the air. It's in the same spot, basically, but now it is in the air above you all. It kind of flaps there once, twice. Its wings just with a massive... You could see this thing's wingspan now that it's up. It's got to be close to 20 feet wide. So it's just this massive wide spread. It looks down at the four of you, and it's cocking its head at strange angles, like maybe it's trying to figure out something about all of you. It's trying to determine maybe the best way to bring ruination to you all. And that laughter is kind of just slowly receded into a strange chuckle.
How high did you go up?
It flew up its full speed. It basically took the disengage action, so it flew up its full speed. It is now 60 feet above you all.
So
It got up.
I would like to note that Ray of Frost reduces its speed by 10 feet until
So it's
my
50.
next turn.
Yes, it's 50 feet above you. Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah, it's 50 feet above you, Pem. But Racket, it is your turn.
Quite reached that.
All right. I don't have any magical far weapons. Can I just throw my sickle mad?
It'd be pretty hard to throw at 50 feet, but if you want to make a strength or athletics test, yeah, let's see what happens.
All right. I will use, I guess, athletics, if that's good. That is a dirty 20.
Okay. I'll say you'll be able to throw it that far. So if you want to attack with it, you can go ahead and attack with it. It'll just be a disadvantage because of the range increment, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. Disadvantage. What did I get? 17 at disadvantage, which I think was too low.
It's going to be just too low. Yeah, you toss it and the sickle spins through the night and the creature just kind of flaps and the sickle actually goes through its body as it kind of merges with the shadows a little bit. It kind of seems to go ethereal slightly and the sickle just through the night. Hopefully you didn't lose it, but you want to move at all or do you want to stay there waiting for your sickle to come back down?
Yeah, I'll kind of try and track it. I'll move to wherever it ends up kind of landing, I guess.
Okay. So yeah, you just take a 5-10 foot step off to the right, kind of over by Pem, waiting for it to come back down. It's basically going to come down the beginning of next round or whatever. You don't have to like wait super long for it, but back up to the top, Pem. What are you doing, my friend?
Yep. Okay. Pem is going to look up at this thing, pose heroically with the rapier raised, and make his cloak billow.
Yes. Okay.
And that is his turn.
Yes, you stand there looking very dapper, very debonair as the cape flows in an unseen breeze that seems to not be felt by any of you because it seems to be magically ordained rather than actual physical wind. But K-Wind, do you wish to do anything? You are muted. Sorry.
Yeah, that thing's just flying up there.
It is currently, yep.
I'm going to reach back with my sword and look over my shoulder at Issa, and I'll say, Lady Issa, bless this blade with your light. And just sort of hold it up to you.
I love Jor. What does that mean? Look. That was great.
She's just kind of like staring at him like I'm not
He'll
sure
look at
what
you
to
and
do
go,
here.
Just touch it. And when she does, I will summon a guiding bolt, and so the sword will light up with
Yes.
radiant light, and I will give her a very, very brief little wink. Then I will turn and hurl it at the creature, and I will keep the sword, but the sort of light, a radiant light effigy of the sword will fly out and hopefully strike this freaking thing.
Right, now don't roll a 1.
I'll try not to. It's not a 20, but it's not a 1.
Okay.
It's going to be 20. Hold on. Guiding bolt is at a +6, so 23.
Okay. And yeah, as you swing the sword around, there is light that seems to emanate from her touch upon the blade, and you fling it. It shoots off of the blade, streaks through the night, and slams right into this thing's chest. What's the damage on that?
It's going to be 66 radiant.
Okay.
Wow.
Done playing.
Yeah, he's had enough. In a different timeline, a different multiverse, as it were, this thing just killed him. So he's
Yeah.
a little mad.
He made me go to the shadows to survive that.
That's it.
No one puts baby in the shadows.
Right. Exactly.
All right, hold on to your underwear. So that's going to be fucking math.
I'm not familiar with that number, but okay. No.
24 radiant damage.
Shit. Okay.
And because I can, I'll add the hammer, the spiritual weapon.
Mhm.
That'll be a 21 to hit.
Yep. Finally, it does it.
Finally, it does hit. And it does a d8.
Christian, don't you get advantage on that attack?
On what?
Guiding bolt, doesn't it?
No, it's like
Give
you
the
do
next
it-
attack against it.
Right.
advantage.
Yeah. So therefore, yeah, does the spiritual weapon get a?
Spiritual
Oh,
weapon is
okay.
advantage.
All
Spiritual
right.
weapon can only move 20 feet at a time.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Oh, that's good call.
That's true.
Sorry, Blake.
Why?
okay.
Why,
No, that's-
why
that's
do you got to be like that?
Come on, creep.
I love
I just
clerics.
gave you
I
like
play
this
clerics
whole
a lot.
moment there.
I could add that I had the slasher, so technically the slasher feet, so that technically it would move 20 feet less, so it would only move 40 feet up instead of 50. So technically, this would hit.
Damn, we're playing D&D now, y'all. Okay.
Yeah.
So you know what?
We're playing that
actually-
numbers game. Let's
You know
go.
It's gonna hit, Bleak. Go ahead and roll the damage for it.
All right. So that's
The
8
air is
points.
really thin here.
Yes. How much
That's
was
8
it, Bleak?
points. 8 points.
Another 8. Okay,
Yeah.
that's radiant damage too, correct?
No, that's force damage.
Oh, force damage. Yeah, excuse me. Okay. Even so, yeah. So the radiant light of the guiding bolt slams into it, and it shrieks back. You can see that it burns a hole through it, a lance that shoots straight through its chest, and the shadows that move around don't actually recoalesce there. There's a hole that remains in its body just above where, if it was a human or other type of creature of that ilk, where the heart would be, there's a hole in its chest now. And then the spiritual weapon stabs through its back. You see a magical blade shrink out through its stomach and twists as it evaporates, and solid hits. It didn't like that either.
We're bringing the light back.
That's it. It shrieks again as Issa takes her turn.
All right. I recognize that my Ray of Frost is just chipping away at it, so I am gonna cast Ray of Frost yet again.
Nice.
Yeah. That is a 22.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my opalites are being nice to me tonight. Except for the damage, 5.
Hey, that's okay. It's another 5. Hey, it's 5 more than you had. Cool. Yeah, another ray of frost hits it again. It's peppered with icicles as they form and stretch out across its form. As you can see, this thing is starting to struggle a little bit against you all. But now it is going to do a loop, a wide arc around the 4 of you, and then it starts to streak down. I just hit my microphone. Sorry, everybody. It starts to streak down towards you all. This type of attack, it's only going to attack with 1 attack as opposed to its multi-attack, because it is doing a wing dive, I guess you could say. So I'm going to roll a d4 to see who he attacks. 3, that'll be, it's going to attack you, Kaywin. Yay. Okay, coming down at you, Kaywin, with a 22 to hit, which we determined earlier that'll hit you.
You really pissed it off.
Yeah, it does. Apparently, it does not like you. Okay, again, you're going to take necrotic damage. It's going to be 13 points of necrotic damage. You are muted.
I'm going to hellish rebuke it.
Oh, okay.
'cause I
How
have
far
that.
away is the distance of that? Is it 10 feet?
60 feet, my friend.
Everything within 60 feet gets affected by it?
No, just whatever hit me. Hellish rebuke. You point your finger, and the creature that damaged you is momentarily surrounded by hellish flames. The creature must make a dexterity saving throw. It takes 2d10 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one.
Okay.
Well, it's going to be a bit more because I'm casting it at higher level. But so it's dexterity 14.
Okay, got a dirty 20.
All right, so it'll take half the damage.
Okay.
So it'll take 3d10 fire damage. Uh, 20 fire damage.
Boy.
As I'm like,
Yes. Oh, yeah. And the fire melts and burns away all that ice that's been blasted and chiseled onto it by Issa's magic, just burns it all the way. There's steam and water that drops down across all of you all, and as it finishes its dive, it lands in that same spot that it was at before, panting. It's looking at you all, hatred burning in its eyes. It is, if you could tell that it's starting to struggle quite a bit, and it's probably on the verge of losing this fight. Issa, what do you do?
Ooh. I guess I'm gonna hit it with Ray of Frost again. I don't want to lose any of my spell slots just yet. So, cantrips right now.
Hey, use
I don't know, I'm getting good rolls. It's a dirty 20. We like that.
Okay, yeah.
All right, let me choose a different dice for the damage this time. A 13 damage.
13 damage. Cool. All right, yeah, and again, hit it with Ray of Frost, this time point blank, right in the face. And you can just see that fire again. It's a mixture of steam, hot steam blasting off of this thing. The dark and the light of the Karevi and the Willoy using fire and ice magic together, these two oppositional forces coming in at this thing, just catching it in a gauntlet of death and destruction. And it is going to try to I'm sorry, do you want to move it all? I don't want to take away the rest of your turn here. Okay. So then it is going to just, again, seeing that all this is going on, it is going to, in a last-ditch effort to try to defeat all of you foes one last time, it is going to do a wide arc swing. It's got its full multi-attack that it's going to do. One is going to be, because of where everybody's positioned, let's see, let me roll with that D4 I had go right here. Issa, you're out of range, so if I roll a 4, I'll just re-roll. So that was a 4, so I re-roll. 2 is going to be, looks like Racket, and 1 is Pem. Okay, so Pem, you're going to get attacked with 1, and Racket, you're going to attack with the other one as this thing wildly swings out of desperation. Okay, against Pem, it is going to be a 12 to hit, which I'm assuming misses, correct?
That is a miss, sir.
Oh, yeah. And then against Racket is going to be a 19.
That hits.
Okay.
On my racket.
Oh, Racket. Okay, Racket, you're going to take from its attack. Okay, that's going to be, I rolled pretty low for that, so that's pretty good. That's going to be 11 points of necrotic damage.
Okay.
Please make a Constitution saving throw as you get hit.
17.
17 passes the save exactly. For you keeping track at home, if you have the quick start, you can see the Soul Hunter stats in there. You will find that it actually has a life drain ability that if it hits you with a melee attack and you fail the Constitution DC saving throw, you lose that many off of your maximum hit points permanently until you rest. So
Oh, jeez.
it's kind of gross. So you are fine though. That didn't happen because you saved. But that was it. That was its turn. It just wildly just slashing out at you guys. It's just trying to, again, last ditch effort here. Racket, it is your turn. It does slice into you. It hurts quite a bit, but it's your turn to fight back as your sickle spins through the air and you catch it out of the air.
Sweet. Very cool. I will take my attack action then, I suppose.
Do it up.
So
Do
that's
it,
a
Racket.
dirty 20.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Carve them up.
Okay. Yes, I love it. Love it.
And the second is a 19.
19 hits too.
So,
Two solid slashes with the sickles.
so 12 points of damage altogether.
Okay. I love it. Okay, cool. Very cool. So yeah, you just slice into a wide X right across its chest. Back up to the top, Pem. It swung at you as well, but you're just too quick. Being a Heron Gone, you moved in around it, you didn't get hit. So what do you like to do? Like I said, you can see this thing is almost done. Your Bloody Dart training kicks back in. You know you can end this thing now if you have to. You just got to find the right opening.
Pem is going to settle himself. Let the cloak billow. And And instead of just a clumsy jab, he's going to focus on right about where this thing's abdomen would be. And he's going to try to center post it right in the middle of its being.
Nice.
And rolling with advantage. Yes, sir. That is a math 27 to hit.
Oh, yeah.
That does 13 plus 12 is 25 piercing with a magical rapier.
Yes, which it takes all of because it's not resistant to magical attacks like that. And so you stab the rapier all the way up into the hilt in this thing's stomach, just run it all the way through, and it just kind of shrieks. It's shaking. There's that black kind of goo streaking down its face. Behind you, that dead body that it was feasting on twitches once or twice as this thing screams. Some sort of strange primal connection between the two things is severed in this moment, and it looks like it is got maybe one hit left. Kaywin, you look up at this creature as it struggles on Pem's blade, as your little friend stands there, this rapier buried in this thing's stomach, holding it there. You look up at it. What do you do?
Challenge it to a dance-off.
Yeah!
Footloose.
My question is, I have a Moontouch short sword. Is that considered a magical weapon for the purpose of attacking something like this?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, you know what?
Dance off.
Dance off. Actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to just sort of, as it's struggling with Pam's thing, I'm going to just sort of come up to it and from under the shield, come in with the Schwartz sword.
Okay.
Hopefully it's enough damage, but that's what I do. That's a 16 plus 4, so dirty 20.
Dirty 20 hits.
That'll be max damage, 7 points of damage.
Okay. And as you move in, as the thing continues to scream, you bring out the Moontouch short sword, you flail it in underneath the shield, you pull away the shield at the last second, and you bury it into this thing's back. And as you do so, the moon catches the blade and it shimmers for a moment. And in that shimmer, you see in your mind's eye, for the briefest moment, that light that Issa held in her hands for you to see, that glimpse of the sun lances across the blade. And as you stab into the creature, you see the soul hunter shrieks again, this unholy, high-pitched, shrill sound that cuts out through the night. Again, the dead body behind it on the steps of the ziggurat twitches and shakes and almost seems to scream silently on its own. And then that portal-type door shifts and shimmers and flickers as if it's going to go away, but it remains. And the soul hunter explodes in a cascade of dark, shadowy energy that burns out and trickles into the night. It merges into a strange fog that has started to envelop the ziggurat as you all have been fighting here. And in that moment, the soul hunter is ripped free of its mortal purchase, and it is obliterated and explodes and fades into the night, leaving the four of you alone on the steps of the ziggurat. And with that, let's take a 5-minute break, shall we? Everyone at home, we will be back for our last little bit of some role play in great moments again. But let's take a 5-minute break, refill your drinks, get yourself a snack, go to the restroom if you need to. But please come on back and join us again. That was awesome, epic stuff. So I'm glad to see. Can't wait to see what's going to happen next. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you in just a short moment. Welcome back, one and all. This is the part 2 of this tonight episode of La Notte Eterna. Appreciate you all coming back, hanging out through the break with us. And yeah, we're going to dive back in. If you're just joining us, thanks for being here. The party here has been a little bit of a fetch quest to recover a astrolabe known as the Mage Discordance from a neighboring area of the kingdom that they're in, I guess you could say, and return it to Althane, who is a high archmage of the island of the Magocracy of New that the party quest began. They have just defeated a strange creature that is native to this campaign setting called a soul hunter, which is a feeder on dead and spirits and those sorts of ilk that lie in the night. Right now, our party is all positioned together. On the side of a ziggurat, there is a bright silvery blue energy type portal, I guess you could say, that is looming in front of all of them. Hopefully a gateway back to their home world. And we come back into this moment. It's been a little bit since the fight has ended, so you guys have kind of caught your breath. You've made sure that you're all okay. If you want
a
to,
long rest.
if you really want to have a long rest, you can. I'm not going to stop you from doing that, but it's up to you guys.
No, we're good. Creep has all her.
I mean, Pim doesn't want to stay around here if there's more of those things coming.
Yes.
There were. There's the bluish silvery glow. And then there were orange glows too. So Pim is going to do what Pim does best and investigate, looking for treasure. Obviously, the shimmery portal thing is the silver blue light. What is the orange light?
Okay, so you do Pam, you just kind of go off on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys all want to take a rest at this point? At least a short rest to try to get your bearings back about yourselves? Or is there anything specifically else you guys would like to do?
Maybe take a short rest so that we can use hit dice to heal instead of more spells.
Sure, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead and do that if you guys would like. Is anybody going to accompany Pam, or is he doing this solo?
I
Can
don't
I
think
sneak away?
Sure, you can sneak away.
With my plus 11 modifier. So.
Yeah, we'll do it based on everybody's passives, which I don't have written down in front of me, so I'll ask you.
That's not going to matter, because that's
okay.
27.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to pass it for 27. So Pam, you kind of slip off when everybody's resting, kind of get their bearings back about themselves, trying to calm down after that ordeal with that creature. And you slink off towards some of the glowing. What you notice when you walk off is that this ziggurat, as I mentioned, it is a triangular shaped, almost like a pyramid, but it has plateau, like platforms and levels along its edges. Certain sections of it are lit up an orangey yellow glow that's warm, as opposed to a cool night type of effect. As you move towards one of them, you will see that there is a small little alcove built into the side of the structure that actually has what seems to be glowing magic within it. You could tell that there's some sort of magic torch or sconce built into the side of the thing, and you will see that in this little alcove where the light is coming out of it, it's real faint. It's like candlelight almost. It's even got a flicker type of effect to it. It's just so noticeable because everything else around it is dark. You'll see that there is actually a chest here. It doesn't look like a mundane, regular type of chest with a hinged top or anything like that you would recognize from home, but you can tell it's a chest because it still has semi-square type shape, but instead of having a lid on the top, it almost looks like it has some sort of panel on the front of it.
I will look for a lock.
Okay. Go ahead and make an investigation check for me, please.
18.
You're looking around trying to find a lock. You do notice that not necessarily a lock, like a keyhole or a lock mechanism, but what you do notice is that the actual panel does seem to be locked in place. Uh, you would guess by the way it's built, it probably has maybe a button or a trigger somewhere that would open it, as opposed to an actual lock you would have to pick. But you didn't find it on this initial cursory glance.
I will delve further into it.
Okay. Let's have you go ahead and make a perception test for me.
Perception's just a little bit better, well, at least modifier-wise. And a better roll, so 23.
As you look around, you can see that there is built into the sides of this box, there is what looks to be the best way to describe it. You're using these terms in comparison to what you know from your world, from Nier, and the things that you've experienced there, because the stuff here is so, forgive the term, alien looking in nature that you don't really fully recognize everything. So the best term would be filigree, or like a frame almost. You can see that on the one side of it, it is actually indented in a certain way that you can tell that that part of it slides away. And as you fiddle with it a little bit and you pull it and it kind of snaps down to the side, there is a sound as the front panel pops out slightly. And as it does, there is a waft of a strange odor that comes out of it. Something old, it smells like.
Ooh, old could be valuable. Open it.
You open up the panel, and as you open and you pull, what you notice is instead of flipping down, it comes out and out more and more and more until eventually you pull out what seems to be a well, you would guess by the coloration of the hair, the skin, it looks to be a Willoy man wearing robes who seems to be asleep, just lying there serenely. Seems to be you've opened up someone's bed or something. Kind of strange.
Damn. I'm gonna check. I mean, what's my medicine here? I mean, it's a straight roll for me, so why not? I'm gonna check to see if he's dead.
Okay. Yeah, you can do medicine or you can do investigation, whichever you would prefer.
I'll do investigation.
Okay.
So, 17.
17. Just an easy enough glance. You kind of look at the guy, you kind of move his robe around a little bit around it where the neck is. It's pretty easy to tell that although he seems to be looking like he's sleeping, he's definitely dead. He's not rotted or gross or anything like that. He's just lying there.
Hey, Issa.
Yeah, you look around because you're not sure where the voice came from for a second, and then you see Pem down off on the side. He is down by what you notice to be one of the cairns that's built into the side of the observatory here. You would know that when the tyrant led his attack against the observatory and tried to stop you all from finding information about the future, about his conquest that he would have, some of the scholars and the different we'll call them meteor hunters because that's the term that Nier would use. The meteor hunters that worked here, that were slain in battle against him, were interred here after their deaths. And you could see that Pem has one of their crypts open and is looking at one of the scholars.
So he is dead.
Yes.
Yeah. How? I just kind of shake my head. Pem, please put him back.
Oh, I was just gonna ask if you knew him.
Please put him back, Pem.
Okay. I'm not a grave robber. Just treasures. And he pushes him back in.
Yeah, it's real light. It wasn't that hard to pull out. despite the fact that it's clearly you're moving around a human-sized person. You slide him back in, and as you slide it back in, as the panel touches, there's a sound as it closes. There's a sound as that little lever thing that you pushed on the side clicks back up into place. Looks like it's all one piece with the rest of the frame around the panel.
Is that what you meant by the treasures here are our treasures?
No, Pem. But I do believe that the dead here deserve their rest.
Oh, definitely agree. All dead deserve to stay dead. I mean, you know, in a good way.
Perhaps we should go inside.
There's an inside to this?
I assume where we see that blue light emanating from, I could assume there's potentially an opening there.
There is,
Yeah.
yes. The top section of this ziggurat is basically like an open observatory where an item that you would know of from before, a telescope type of a device, a telescope that would come out of the top of it would be where that doorway is now. So it's open, so you can have that sticking out there to observe the stars, observe different planets and things of this nature. So yeah, you know that there's a way to get down within that leads to the observatory level.
I'm gonna start heading that direction.
Pemba's gonna follow her. News of an inn.
And as you're following, we'll see that Kaywin and Racket, you both are still on the outside resting for a moment. You've kind of taken up a rest nearby one another. What are the two of you doing in this moment as they're having this moment of recollection about the past?
Kaywin goes to Racket and checks to see if Racket's got injuries that he can help with and whatnot. And as he's helping Racket, and he'll pull like some rations from his pack, whatever he's got, and sort of share some a little bit with Racket. He'll say, Racket, I don't want you to be cross with Issa, regardless of how we got here and whatever role she and Ulthane played or didn't play, to be honest. Who knows exactly what went on. I am thankful. I've spent so much of my life without hope because I was fighting against something that didn't exist, and in my mind, Nier was being punished for the sins of the people. How can you fight against that? How can you change the hearts of so many people? How can you make gods forgive you once they've been angry at you? To find out now that there is a singular cause that is external, that is a being of evil or of nefarious purpose in one way or another, well, that's something you can fight against. And that's something you can stand up to. And while I don't know that I have much hope that we can actually win, I certainly feel that, well, I have hope that we can actually try now, whereas before it was just a matter of analyzing it and cataloging it and archiving it and reducing it to information and scraps of papyrus. Do you think you can be okay with that?
Yeah, I'm happy you have found some peace. I just wish that it wasn't. I feel that she led you along. She knew the entire time. She knew, like, when you shared with her, and she kept it to herself. And this entire time, we've known her for a few days, and she was calling us friends, and it just felt. I was mad on your behalf. I'm glad that this has been a growing experience, I think, but did it have to happen this way? You know?
Well, I think that aside from Pam, most people don't just open their mouths and tell you pretty much everything about them in the first 30 seconds of you meeting them. I think we live in a world of darkness and shadows, and it is increasingly easy, I think, to want to keep to them and find comfort in them. And sometimes that means also hiding things that perhaps should be better shared. But I'm not the most trustworthy person. You trust me now because we've done things together, but if you think back to when you first met me, the reputation of my people, my own certain shadowy demeanor, I'm certain you didn't feel completely comfortable and secure at first.
Yeah. Well, it takes a long time. For me, at least. I don't know.
My friend, you and I are not used to the light. It's difficult to see the world through eyes that are lit up bright. But I don't think Issa meant ill in any way, shape, or form, and I think that, well, now we can see with a little bit more light at least. And sometimes the lessons most worth learning are the ones that are perhaps more difficult or more painful, but
I know Issa is your light, the Willow are your light, but for me, you're my light, so I follow where you go.
oh, the Willow are in my light. The Willow, don't get me wrong. I am impressed by. I was impressed at being so close to someone who was so close to the light, and while I like he said just fine, I don't have any sort of worshipful demeanor towards their people. I mean, they're, in fact, if anything, I feel pity. They're exiled from their home world. They're forced to run a world that's been destroyed and ravaged, and I think anything we can do to save our world is going to come from them, because they know what they're fighting and they know what's happened before. And I think we need to be allies with them, and I think perhaps learning to trust them and having them trust us is the way to go with this, just as you and I have come to trust each other. And well, right now Pem is probably off somewhere robbing a grave, but we've also come to trust Pem in his own way. We know that he would never hurt us willingly, that any ill effects we might suffer from his actions would just be, unaccounted for. And I think that's it. So I would never tell you what to do or think, but I think maybe we give her a chance. What do you say?
I think Racket runs his hands through his poofy fur to kind of straighten himself up. Like, I ran hot. At least I'll think about it. We still have to get out of here somehow, but
we'll get there. Come on, let's go make sure that whatever grave Pem's robbing is not, something that's going to haunt us back into our world. And I'll reach down and grab your hand and help you up.
And as the two of you stand, you will see that Issa and Pam are now crossing across the top of the ziggurat, and they're going to what looks to be a stairway that, like an open staircase that leads down into an area just below this glowing doorway portal type thing. There's an area just below it, a structure that a floor basically that goes from one end of the ziggurat to the other, a larger room. And as You move to join up with them. The four of you move down into this room, and what you will see is, again, this is at the observatory level. So there is a very finely crafted floor here. Would be some sort of marble or that similar type of that really hard stone. There is different tables and stuff in here with different accoutrement necessary. Other astrolabes, you'll notice things that are not quite as elaborate as the Mage Discordance, but other things that are in here as well. Papers, different types of books, and different charts. Diagrams of star patterns and constellations. All of this stuff looks very foreign, I guess you could say, to the three of you who are not Issa, who is not a meteor hunter, who is not a star gazer and looks upon things like this. But you know enough about what she's explained that you get kind of what the point of all this stuff is in here. Pam, you'll notice that there's more than one thing in this area that definitely looks very nicely crafted. You can do with that what you will. But the four of you are down in the observatory, and you have a moment of respite. And as we mentioned, you take that short rest, you kind of get to your breath about yourselves, and you guys are trying to figure out the next steps. So, what do you think?
I would like to pull the astrolabe back out and check and see the reading on it now that we've made it into the ziggurat.
Absolutely, sure. You look upon it. Go ahead and make a knowledge arcana check for me, please, if you could.
That's a 24.
Okay, great. You can definitely tell by looking at it that, yes, all the different readings on it, all the different calculations, I guess you could say, that you would make extrapolated out of those readings, you can tell that it definitely has led here. It's pointing in the direction of that bluish silvery light above you all. You can see that it's glowing brighter now that you guys are closer to it. You could tell that as you were moving around, it kind of got brighter the closer you got to it. A proximity thing, you would assume. But in other regards, it's unchanged. But it's just looks like the astrolabe isn't actually used for the typical purpose, which would be to determine distances of stars and planetary and solar type objects in the sky. This is more trying to gauge a distance between something else. It's not as simple as just it led us to this door. It seems to be something, some other purpose that's probably tied to someplace else.
Is the light coming from the ziggurat or from the sky going into the ziggurat?
It's basically at the top where you guys were. There was an opening. It looked basically like light was coming up out of the ziggurat. And now that you guys are down into the level that would be right below that light, you see the light is emanating in the air. It almost looks like, imagine the air was a piece of paper. It looks like someone poked a hole through it. So it's not really something that's tied. It's like it's not on the floor, for example. It's not an actual doorway. It's just an opening. So it's just in the air, but so it's kind of a limbo between the ziggurat and the outside air. That really explains.
Looking around, do I see anything that sticks out to me? Anything that would potentially help me figure out how to get us back home?
Sure. I'll have you go ahead and make a perception test with advantage because you've been here in the observatory before. We already established that you used to work and study here.
So Pim did just gather up an armful of important looking stuff and has walked over to Issa and put it down at her feet and goes, "Any of that treasure?"
I rolled a 17.
A 17? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When he sets that down, Pam, let's go ahead and have you roll just a d20. No modifiers, just roll a straight up d20. Please tell me what you get.
16.
16. You can see from what he's gathered up, it's mainly it looks like books. Several of them you can tell have star charts and different patterns. Astrological readings and studies, I guess you could say. One of the books, however, is a book that actually is a specific, for lack of a better description, it is a religious text that the Willoi would have here. And you would know that if somebody were to read this text, it would grant them some sort of insight into, um, s- you know, s- divinity, I guess you could say.
Okay. Uh, I point that book out in particular to Pem and say, I think you should put that one in your bag.
Like, it's okay.
It's okay.
I mean, it's your house. I don't want to like mess with your house.
No one's using these things anymore, Pem.
Cool.
Deserves to be with someone else.
Hey, maybe your high mage guy, he can buy it.
Maybe. I wouldn't have assumed that book would be any use here in this situation.
No, it's just it's a book that has ties to the other faction that was important in Yulhamra, besides the Willoi. It has ties to the dragons and what exactly that they were doing here. But you didn't exactly mention that part to Pem.
I haven't, no.
Pim is also going to take a star chart, and just because it looks pretty, and
Sure.
he's going to put it in his bag.
Yeah, it's really cool because it looks like a scroll. It looks like a map, but the paper is black. It's like a typical paper would be like a off white or a beige or like a paper color. This paper is actually like black, and all the markings on it are in whites and blues. So yeah, it does look really, really interesting, really different, really cool. But I mean, Issa, you know that here that's just something mundane. That's just a star chart. But to you, Pam, yeah, it's something really new and different. You've never seen anything like that before.
I mean, it's an alien thing.
Yeah, right, exactly. And with your perception test of you looking around Issa, you do see that there are some of the nearby star charts and paperworks you can see. They have to do with the way certain stars line up. You can see that somewhere within their dictation, somewhere within the way that everything's written down, it would have specific connection to the way that the constellations are lined up in the sky now. So looking through that, maybe trying to get some information, you might be able to spend a little bit of time doing some research and see what you can figure out if you want to investigate those further.
I would, yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and make an investigation check for me, please. If you want to pretty much like take your time and just really kind of dig into it, you can do that with advantage.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to see if my meteor hunter gives me...
Can I help in any way? I am an archivist.
Yeah, I'd say you could definitely be able to assist for sure.
Yeah, so my meteor hunter just gives me advantage on any checks involving meteors or fallen objects within meteors. Okay, so yeah, I am gonna take my time.
Okay.
Let's see, what's my bonus? That's a dirty 20.
Okay. You can see that studying these charts and having to do with, you could tell that it is tied into meteors. A pattern of, it looks like there's more and more. It looks like this specific paperwork was studying the rain of fire that we had mentioned earlier. This time where it would seem that both the Willoi and the dragons working in concert had a bit of a idea that there was going to be a time when there would be fire that rained from the sky and changed the history of the Willoi, as we mentioned. These papers seem to be a study of that. And what you are able to determine by looking through all of that with your studies of knowing about the stars, knowing about patterns of meteors and things of this nature, having hunted down some before on near with and without Althane, that actually this hole that is in the air above the observatory on top of the ziggurat is actually because there was a meteor that punched through it.
Oh. Could I assume from that the meteor is here?
I think you could definitely assume that. I think realistically, well, let's do it this way. I think this is what Kaywin will give you the assistance on, the advantage on, so to speak. Go ahead and make an insight check with advantage, please.
That's a 23.
Okay. Yeah, you could basically figure out by looking at this, putting together the information, his archivist abilities. He looks at the books and papers a little bit as well. The two of you confer for a moment. It would seem that a meteor punched out of this space and came here. So it's basically like, imagine where that opening is. As we said, imagine it's a piece of paper that someone punched through. Instead of poking through the paper, it's like someone on the other side poked through, as in the meteor is here somewhere, and the meteor would not be from here.
I'm not sure I follow.
The meteor, to make it more simplistic, I guess I'm maybe over explaining it a little too flowery. Basically, as you can imagine that Issa coming too near would be like, let's say, an immigrant coming into your world. Okay, the meteor that is here would come from the other direction.
Okay, like it came from near
Our world.
Yes, the meteor
Into
that's
here.
here is probably from near. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Okay.
Perhaps, and just maybe, that hole where that light is coming from could send us somewhere.
Back home?
Possibly. It doesn't state where this came from.
So
Anywhere is better than a dead planet, though.
till we travel to the plane of fire. So wherever the other side of that hole is where the meteor came from.
Mm-hmm.
We could drop something into the hole. An experiment, per se.
I look at Pim, and then
Okay. Pam
I
will
just
take one of
think-
the books and drop it.
Okay. So maybe you take a book and you pull it off the table, and without waiting for them to stop you, you chuck it and it goes through the air. And when it hits that opening, it just kind of disappears into it.
You know, that's better than that door we found, Racket.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right on that. Should we jump?
Should we all go in together?
I mean, maybe I can. How high up is it?
If you go back up to the top level of the ziggurat, it would basically be like you would jump. It's basically between the floor where you guys are standing now and the top level. So you would either need to climb up into it from this level or jump down into it from the top of the ziggurat.
I
It's
guess
like
I'm
in
asking
the air,
if I'm underneath it, how high up is it?
20 feet either direction. we'll
just
say.
out of
So
my
it's a matter of
range.
if you want to jump or if you want to, well, you want to jump up or you want to jump down, I guess. A leap of faith or a climb of hard work, really, would be what it comes
Racket, you want to throw me?
Yeah. just like darts.
And again, I think without waiting for anybody to stop them, Racket, you grab him by the back and you hoist him. Make a strength check, please.
Oh,
He's really light, so I'll give you advantage.
Oh, sick.
He will
Okay.
Pim will also bunny hop in
I
tandem.
hope you grab him by the ears.
Swing him around.
So the bunny hop adds 15 feet to my jump.
Oh,
Nice.
I got a 13 and an 8. So. not
Okay,
great.
that's yeah, that's fine. So Pam, Racket tosses you. It's a little forceful. It does hurt a little bit. You go flying up, and as you go right to the opening is, you get to the front where the opening is, and he passes through it.
That
Pam,
still
roll a
doesn't tell us
d20
where he
for
went,
me.
though.
You don't see where he goes. Pam, just roll a d20 for me, please. Unmodified.
Without a modifier,
Without a modifier.
natural 20.
Okay.
You're on the spell jamming ship.
That's could have used it on all of those advantage rolls I had against the monster, but
Of course.
whatever.
Yes, and Pam is gone. We'll get to that in just a moment.
Oh.
After a second, you
next.
notice that the astrolabe, there's something on the front of it that, and the light changes slightly on it. What were we
What
gonna
do we
say,
make of that?
Racket?
I'll go next. Why not?
Okay.
I guess I try to jump half-heartedly, and then I'm like, okay, I'll climb around and jump down into it.
Okay. As Racket's doing this, the other two of you stand there in the observatory watching this happen. Racket climbs up, and the opposite of Pam actually goes up above it and jumps down into it. And same thing, goes down, and as Racket hits the surface, it's like it takes longer for Racket to go through until eventually. Roll a d20 for me, please, Racket. Again, no modifier.
Oh my goose. Where am I going? I think I got a nat 1. Yeah, I did.
A nat 20 and a nat 1. Amazing. Cool. Good to know. Okay. The two of you standing there, the Karevi and the Willoy,
I'm just staring
again,
at
two
that
sides
hole.
of the same moon. What do you guys do here?
Do I notice another change in the astrolabe?
Yeah, again, there's like almost like it's dialing in on something. Now, astrolabes typically don't move on their own. It's something usually you have to manipulate and move around. So this is clearly something, and you know this from the way Althane described it, that this is a magical item in nature, artifact level magic. So it's definitely doing something on its own.
Issa's gonna look to Kaywin. Will you jump with me?
Of course.
She's gonna start climbing the stairs, and she's gonna ready herself in front of the opening.
Kaywin's going to reach into his bag, pull out this creepy ass doll that he's got. This creepy ass talking doll. He's going to whisper something in its ears. And then he's going to place it somewhere in evidence in this room. And then he's going to climb up to the top.
The two of
To
you do
you,
climb up together.
As you approach her at her side, she's gonna look to you, and she's gonna take your hand in hers. I don't know if I've sent your friends to their death, and I don't know where I'm sending us now. But I hope we're doing the right thing.
Well, at least we're able to hope. That's already that. Take your hand also, and shall we?
Okay.
The two of you take a moment, and then you move forward, first slowly, then you pick up speed to get enough momentum for the jump, and you both leap and soar through the air. And as you go down in towards the opening, there's that similar. Both of you, please roll a natural. No. Yeah, roll a natural 20. Can both you? Can both of you please roll a 20?
I don't know. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Shit. 4.
9.
4. 9. Okay.
Wow. Him will miss all of you.
Right.
I should have cast augury. But I only thought about it after the other two had jumped, and I'm like, it would be kind of crappy to do
Dick
it now.
move.
It's all good.
Well, now that they're gone.
Elsewhere, a lone figure of Althane stands looking over star charts. He's waiting for the return of all of you to make sure that you retrieve the Mage Discordance from the nearby island of New, as you were sent to do. As he stands there inside his study where you all met with him before to know exactly what your mission would be, he hears something behind him, and he slowly turns to see what's going on. There is something that starts to split in the air behind him, a small little opening that slowly spreads, and there's a sound, and he sees a single figure plop out of this hole and land on their feet. And Pem, you stand up straight, back in the everybody's faces. Sorry. Pem, you stand up back in the room where you all had your first meeting with Althane, standing there, and you look up at him. He looks at you. A single eyebrow goes up. Where are the others?
Right behind me?
He looks up past you and kind of tilts his head, and you slowly turn and you see that the thing that you just came out of closes up.
Oh. Do you want to buy a book?
And elsewhere, there is another stretch of desert, not unlike the one that we saw all of our heroes just jump out of. In this area, there are the dark, almost black sands of the ashen land here that stretch out in all different directions as well. Nearby, there was a city of Petralta that is close enough to be within distance of anyone who'd be looking for it, but yet far enough away that this is still a place of obscurity. There is a opening once more, and a figure drops out of the opening, and Racket, you were going to take 16 points of bludgeoning damage as you slam down onto a rocky ground that is littered with hot glass. You slam into your shoulder, you feel something within it wrench and pop, clearly dislocated. You've done this before, so you're not too out of sorts about it, but it does hurt a lot. And you stumble, kind of flip, ass over tea kettle. You come up back and you land in a big huddle, face down, and you look up and you can see that you are basically in what looks to be a large opening in the ground. It seems to be a spot where, best you could think, it looks like a meteor slammed into the ground here. It is a large circular opening, damaged. It looks like there are chunks of rock that are scattered about. They have a volcanic type look to them. They're black and singed and burnt. Some of the rock, you notice, is actually melted. That's weird. But you notice that the ground itself is marred and charred. In amongst all of the burning parts of it, not orange like you would expect, but a deep amethyst type purple, magical fire, you would notice. And as you're seeing all of this, you notice something else on the night, a smell. You've smelled dead bodies before. These smell fresh. You start to look around. Your fox nose, your senses catching the scent on the air, and you look over and you can see there's part of a figure here, a Iraqian who looks to be water buffalo ancestry, perhaps, who has been semi burnt and scorched, lying face down in uh, gore and whatnot. Your gaze continues to look, and you see over here is an elven woman, very pretty, or she would be, were if not half of her face gone. Looks like she's been sliced diagonally, her face kind of bisected. Nearby, you can see that there is a man, wide, broad shouldered, with long, flowing white hair and a beard to match, is apparently been pulled apart from the inside. He's partially exposed. Looking around, you also see a final figure, a girl, maybe, maybe just barely into adulthood, very prominent red hair, a bloody dart carved into her cheek. She stares up, looking into the sky, lifeless. And as you're standing here observing all of this, you hear crunching as if footsteps are approaching from behind you. Back to that one moment.
Great. I go, Pam!
Yeah. There is another ripple, and Kaywin, Issa, the two of you emerge back where you two first met. You are standing here just outside of that. We were calling it a church at the time, but it is a semi-abandoned warehouse next to a bar where people were playing games of chance, where the two of you first talked in the snow. It's snowing still, but you know that you are back on Daragos, back where your journey began. The two of you seem to be safe. You don't see the other two.
Are you okay? Aside from the fact that you've lost your voice.
My bad.
Summoning sickness.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm great. We made it. Where's the others?
Pam, Rocket.
There's no answer. There's some nearby people in the street who are walking by who hear you guys yelling, and they both just kind of look at you guys and continue to walk. They're just regular Willowy people, regular people of the town here.
I guess we go to Ulthane. He may know.
Yeah, that's where everyone should be going. We should go there.
We'll hightail it there.
Okay. The two of you quickly make your way towards Althane's tower. Elsewhere, Racket, did you call out for Pem?
That would have probably been the first thing I would have done, yeah.
Okay.
Bad choice, but
He doesn't answer you. You
Mhm.
just hear the footsteps again. And as you're walking, the footsteps get closer. What do you do?
As I'm walking, I guess I'll try to slip off somewhere, or follow the noise. I'm just wanting to see. Oh, 600 feet. I would not be close enough to use my horn to be like, I'm still alive. Yeah. I'll try to like catch out where the footsteps are coming from. Catch them like walking when I'm not walking or something.
Okay. So you're kind of going off to the side, trying to hide? Is that what?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and make a stealth test for me.
Sure.
I'm making an opposed roll here.
I have
to roll very high.
I got a 13.
Okay, that is definitely higher than the 9 this person
Oh,
got.
sick. Okay.
You hide off to the side behind some of the rubble of some damaged stuff. What it looks like part of the meteor or whatever that slammed into the ground here. You hide it behind it. Purple, still glowing within the rock within. And you see a small figure, just a little bit bigger than Pem, walks up in amongst the rubble. starts to climb down. You can see that they're having a hard time climbing. They get down into pretty much right where you landed, and they stop. And this person looks down, and when he looks down, you see his features are illuminated by the purple fire. He's a gnome. He looks like he's very old. Long, graying hair, glasses that are askew. One of the lenses on the left side is all shattered and broken, spider-webbed. You can see part of his hat is burned away, and you can see he's holding his one arm close to him. You can tell that it's busted in such a way that it's broken. Needs to be reset, actually. And he's just looking down, and he slowly looks up and looks around as if he's looking for you.
Is he fearful? Is he looking for me to... Like, what's the vibe?
Oh, he looks terrified. He looks absolutely terrified. I would say, even without having to roll, that you know that he came in here out of necessity, that he saw somebody come up. He's just trying to see what's going on. He probably would still be hiding, but
Okay. I will... It's very horror movie for this gnome, probably. Out of the shadows, my face with my big teeth, like, who are you?
whoa! He jumps back. He actually falls back on his ass. He looks up. He goes, "Who are you? What is going on? The others. Oh no, the others. Oh." And he looks at all the carnage around you guys.
Are these your buds?
They were my traveling companions, yes. Oh, who are you?
I'm Racket. I came through. Never mind. How did you get here? Where are we? Where am I?
This is the desert of the Ashen Lands. Do you not know where you are? I hoped you had answers. That's why I approached you.
Buddy, I've been here 10 minutes. I'm so sorry.
we have to warn them. We have to warn everybody of what's happening. He's come back. The tyrant has returned. He's going to kill us all like he did my buds. Buds? Is that the word you used? Buds? They're my buds? Is that what you had
Yes,
said?
that's the one.
It's very strange. I've never heard that sort of language before. What? What is happening? I'm so confused right now. But my book. Where is my book? Have you seen my book?
I can, I guess, help you look for it. I guess my friends aren't gonna be coming here. Let me take a look at your arm. I'll look at setting his arm, maybe, or eating it. We'll see.
Okay. He looks at you for a moment. Make a persuasion test, please.
Sure. Oh, I got a +0.
Yes.
13.
Okay. He looks at you, and then after a moment, he just kind of leans, and you take his arm, and yeah, you just kind of pop and twist and pull it. Ow! And then he looks down, he sees what you did, and pukes all over the ground.
Oh, you'll taste better now, but just kidding. Just
What?
kidding. It's a
What are you talking
Urakian
about?
joke. Don't worry. It's fine.
Look, if we go back to Petrolta, I know people that can get us wherever you're going. I don't. Oh, it's just so much. Oh. He looks around at the people again.
Boy, where's Petralta on this map?
Petrolta is right here.
Just so I can. Oh, geez, Louise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. Well, do you want to just? Well, we can just start heading to Petrolta, or do you want to do something about here?
Would you bet him, my friends?
If you want, I don't know. We can leave them.
No, there's no time. People must be warned. The tyrant has returned, and with him, the dark prophecy is coming to an age.
I'm
We
the
must
worst
warn
person to
them.
tell this. I had some friends who would be better for this. We were talking about the tyrant earlier.
Well,
Maybe
let's seek them out.
Yeah, we need to.
Okay. Well, I will lead us back to Petrolta. It's half a day's journey from here, and then once we are there, we will find the necessary path to get us back to your friends. Where are your friends at?
We were in the Mageocracy of New. I don't know if they're there now.
That is, that is quite a distance. But you know what they say: the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one. I think it's one step, 2 steps. Well, there's 2 of us. It might be 2 steps. Anyway, shall we?
I guess. Let's go.
And he turns and he walks on with you in tow, very confused. Oh, I'm Ming Hill, by the way.
Hi, Ming Hill. I think I'm Racket. I think I said. I don't know.
Right. Right. Let's go then, Racket.
Yeah. Tell me about yourself. What's your deal?
Oh, well, that's quite a long story. I'm so glad that you asked. My life truly began.
Oh, no.
His voice trails off as the 2 of you walk off into the dark. When Kaywin and Issa get to Althane's tower, and you make your way up into the room. The Willoi that were here keeping guard and everything like that, they let you in. They're expecting you to return. And plus, you are from here, Issa. You've been a part of the tower for some time, so they don't have any problem letting you in. By the time you get back up to the room where you all met before, you get up there, and Althane is standing there. You can tell that he is very annoyed, but holding himself together as Pem sits on a nearby chaise lounge with his feet up, eating something and discussing this book and really laying it on thick, it would seem. So as the 2 of you come in, what exactly is Pem saying?
So what you got to understand is this book, according to experts, and they're the best experts in the experts, says that this book is a treasure trove of golden proportions. Hi.
Pam,
Hey, you guys are what was your deal? Why didn't you come here?
Yes, I would like to know that as well. What exactly has happened?
I don't know. Was Racket around?
No, I was gonna ask you.
No, Racket wasn't with us.
Issa is very quietly approaching Althane, and she reaches into her pack and pulls out the astrolabe and shows it to him. We found it.
Yes, excellent. May I?
Yes.
Oh, be careful. It like slithers in your head.
It sent us home.
Home.
Yeah,
Alhambra.
Yeah.
the other planet. Yeah.
He looks to you, Pam, and then he gives you a little bit of a look as if, why does he know about the other planet? Then he looks to Kaywin. Just kind of does a curt nod. He will reach out tenderly. He'll take the astrolabe, and as he does, you see he stands for a brief moment looking at it. Something seems to just flash over his features for a brief moment, and then he looks up. Yes, it would seem you are correct, young Pemblebrook. It does indeed slither over your mind.
Yeah. I've come across treasures like that. Usually they want you to kill yourself, but that one was just different.
No, the Stargazer has a much more important plan than to simply have you kill yourself. Your 4th companion, is he lost, or...
I wouldn't be surprised.
We don't know. He has to be somewhere here. It sent all of us back. He has
Maybe
to be
he's
somewhere.
like in the ocean or something.
in the
Well,
ocean?
Racket is nothing if not resourceful. If he's not, well,
Not what?
if he's not dead, let's
Oh,
find his way
Racket's
back.
not dead.
he'll find his way back.
I mean, unless he got like dropped in on a meteor or something.
That's not helping, Pam.
I mean,
Well,
what are the odds he had something fall out of the sky and hit him?
But can't you do some sort of magical sending thing, or? I mean, you're some powerful wizard up in a tower. Can't you?
Oh, you mean him? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
I thought you were speaking to the Herongon as well.
No, I'm sorry.
He
Sorry,
does that.
I should have
Sometimes
said
he ignores me.
I turned to Ulthane and.
If I knew the location of Racket, I could in fact summon them back, but I do not know such an answer, do I? Do
Can't your
any of
mirror
you
thing do
perhaps
stuff?
know what were you aiming for?
Aiming?
We were supposed to aim?
I assume that you attempted to transmit yourselves back here. You attempted to teleport yourselves here, and it went awry. These things happen for those who
No.
are uninitiated with its use.
No, that's not what happened, Ulthane. When we arrived back on the home planet, it was at the observatory. There was a great beam of light shooting through it. It was a dimensional door. It sent us here. Pem, where did it send you?
Here?
In the tower.
Yeah. I was just finishing up negotiating a price for that book.
You cannot sell something you do not own, Pemblebrook.
Excuse me. I found that fair and square on another
Right.
planet.
Enough about the book. Look,
It's my
we
treasure.
didn't teleport here. As Issa said, we went through a portal. We ended up here. I wasn't thinking of any place in specific when we went through. I was simply following Issa. I don't know if Issa thought of this place that she wanted to return here to
I
you.
did not.
I wasn't thinking at all.
Well, maybe that was the answer. All right. I'm gonna go find Racket, and I turn
It
around.
was the astrolabe. It sent us to the portal.
The astrolabe. Does it tell you anything? Is it pointing in a direction? Is it beeping or making noises or funny faces?
When each of us went through it, it changed colors. It changed. Racket
Is it
has to
doing
be
something
here,
right
just
now?
somewhere else.
Is it doing something right now that might point us to where?
I had handed it to Ulthane.
Yeah, he looks at it. The astrolabe does seem to be working. The mage discordance that was casted upon the stargazer does seem to have the desired effect still. But the tyrant who originally stole this artifact and corrupted it for his own nefarious purposes is still using it to guide himself towards what he believes to be a certain destiny foretold about he and the fall of the Willoy. I believe that the, signs that you found on Yolhamra will perhaps be answer as to what exactly his entire plan was. Tell me, Issa, was anything else missing or damaged in the observatory?
There was nothing missing, but there was research, writings of meteors being transferred there through that portal. Do you think he's sending the meteors here?
It would seem he has done something different, but he would have to have been returned for such a thing. When we banished him, when we created his prison that took him away from here, we put it in a location that we knew he would not be able to escape. We put it back on the home world. And therefore, it would seem that somehow what you are telling me is true. he may have found his way back out again. It may, in fact, be that after all this time, all of our careful preparations, that perhaps the tyrant Nagistar is to return after all.
That's all right. You beat him once, we'll beat him again. Problem right now is Racket.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and look for Racket. I have no clue where, but I'll find him.
And, that book could help. Just saying. That if you bought that book, it could help you.
You kicked his ass before, you'll kick it again, I'm sure.
Issa's gonna approach Kaywin and put a hand on his shoulder and try to calm him. Kaywin, if he made it back, then he knows where we're all going. He would come here.
That's right. She's right.
Racket's smart.
I know that. It's got nothing to do with me doubting Racket's abilities.
Where will you look? Where will you go? He could be anywhere.
Mhm.
Anywhere in near.
Well,
He could be in a
Pam
bar.
returned here, and you and I returned to where we first met. I'm going to assume that Racket returned to somewhere along our way. I'll
There you
retrace
go.
our steps.
He's probably playing darts right now.
Except I might not go to the other world. I might skip that part. Have we
I hope he's playing darts.
accomplished what you wanted, Othane?
Yes,
We've
I thank you, and as I said, I would give you proper recompense, and he'll hand you a coin purse, as we agreed.
give it to Pam.
Wait, what? I mean, I was getting some anyway, right?
Yes, so basically you get Kaywin's cut of the money, I guess you could say. Kaywin's part of the payment.
I will, looking at Issa, will say I've already been paid something far more precious than any gold.
He just looks suspiciously between the two of you at that.
She does not make eye contact with Althing. She's looking dead at Kaywin.
Well, it would seem our business is concluded then.
Pim is going to elbow Kaywin.
If
Right in
you,
the thigh.
an elbow him in the ribs and the thigh. If you end up finding out more concrete information about this tyrant, if you end up getting wind of his plans, or if you take up arms against him, I'll gladly help with that. But
Noted.
I would like, if I was out there alone, I would like to know my friends were looking for me, and so even if it's fairly fruitless, and I do have faith in Racket's abilities, I will go out there, and if nothing else, perhaps at least cut down in half the time before we find him.
Very well, then I wish you luck in your approach. Issa, I will need your aid here to make sure that the research that we are needed to be done will be done efficiently and effectively. So let's just get to work then. And he will turn as if he's just dismissing it. Like, as far as he's concerned, the conversation's over. You guys retrieve the thing. He's given you your payment. And so he's going to turn back to doing studies and whatnot. Just expects you to come and help him with that, Issa. He doesn't seem to have any other words to the matter. Is there
I
anything
will reach
else?
into my bag
Mhm.
and I will produce a small orb. And I will go to Issa and I will take her hand. I will place the orb in her hand. Also, if you spend a little bit of time focusing on this orb, it will tell you whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or night outside. So that regardless of whether or not the darkness persists, you'll at least know when you're in daytime.
Thank you, Kaywin. I think you should keep it. And you can remind me what time it is while we're looking for Racket. And she turns back to Althane. I have to do what's right in this moment. And I have to go find my friend. And when I have done that, I will return to you.
Sort of, you will.
If you'll have me back.
And he takes a step closer to you and kind of quietly, so hopefully just you can hear. Maybe the other two will. We're not sure. In this moment.
Pim is.
Sure, yeah.
Ears up.
He said, "You have worked at my side for some time to make sure that the darkness is to be turned back and that we are to be returned to our home world. You have worked with me to study the meteors to make sure that the tyrant does not return. And now when I need you most, you will go upon this frivolous quest. I urge you to reconsider this."
I've
I'm not
seen
gonna
our
say-
home, Althane. There's nothing to return to. Near is our home. The people of Near are our family now. And we have to protect Near. And Racket and Pem and Kaywin have helped me to see this. Going back has helped me to see this. I will return to do what I must to protect this place. But I must protect those who are here now. And I hope that you can understand this.
Then I wish you success on your journey and your quest. You'll excuse me, I have work to do. And he goes over and he starts looking through papers and consulting the astrolabe that you guys have returned to him.
At least one of you is thinking right. And Pim pointedly looks at Kaywin and just shakes his head.
We'll be glad for your light, Lady Isa.
The three of you exit out of Althane's tower. And that is where we will bring our tale tonight to a close on a very interesting twist at the end. Very, very cool. Great stuff, guys. Thank you so very much. I was absolutely riveted by the story you all were telling tonight. These characters are amazing, and hopefully we will see more of their journey in the future as the time of judgment draws ever nearer here in the world of eternal darkness. So let's go around and say goodnight to everybody. Please, let's start in the same order we said hello to everybody. Let's start right over here on my side with Bleak Season, who played our true Karevi cleric knight hospitalier, Kaywin Zetten. Thank you so much for playing, man.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a lot of fun. Amazing players. Y'all are so much fun, and it's just a pleasure to play with people who always bring it and raise things up a notch. So thank you very much for that. Thank you, Kevin, for inviting me here. I'm the Bleak Season. You can find me at the Bleak Season on Twitter for as long as that'll live. Also on the Blue Sky and so on and so forth. You can find me on Guild Superior on Tuesdays, playing Greyhawk on Thursdays. Next Thursday, I start a new Lord of the Rings campaign, the second part of a trilogy that I'm planning. So I'll start Thursday, and on Saturday next week, we have a special one-shot of Dragonbane that I'm running with some great people at noon. So that's what I got going on. Thank you again for the invite. Thank you, Miko, for the production. As always, a lot of fun to work with you. And Creep, Kay, Tim.
Awesome. Well said. Thank you so very much, Blake. Appreciate it. Yeah, I love Richard Robert, the character. I always love sitting at the table, so this was amazing. Thank you so very much. Right back at you.
Thanks.
Let's jump on over to the other side to, again, a true blast to have sitting here. Darling Creep Show, you are amazing. I'm not gonna lie, Creep, you're awesome. I love playing it. And you brought a whole new level to Issa and the Willow. So thank you for that. Amazing stuff.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you
was
so much.
super fun to play her. Man, I'm really glad I saved all those spell slots.
Yeah,
Oh,
right?
gee. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, you know what?
well,
Let's take another 2 hours. Let's fight Althane real quick, you know?
Yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. Thanks so much for letting me sit here at this table with all of you. I had such a great time telling this story. It was super cool. It just everyone brought it tonight, and
Yes.
all of the episodes really. And I really just appreciate that. It was a super cool story. It was a lot of fun, and I got to step out of my comfort zone with the character and be like super serious and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. So, Darling Creep Show, you can find me all across the interwebs as Darling Creep Show. I'll be back on my channel on Sunday night with more Dragonfire in Cormyr, which is our awesome in-house DM Durograx's homebrew. So come check that out. We start at 9 p.m. Eastern. Hang out for some laughs, because that, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of belly laughs in that campaign, that's for sure. Exact opposite for what was happening here this evening.
Excellent. Oh, great stuff. Yeah, like thank you so much, Creep. This was awesome. And thank you for Creeples for being out there. It was fun to make some new friends and talk with some of you guys. So thanks for doing that. But this was awesome. I can't wait to do it again in the future. So thank you. Jumping back down below, Tim, my man, Pemblebrook extraordinaire. Thank you for being here, buddy. It's always fun to share the table with you, and tonight was no exception. So thanks. Tell everybody where they can find you, man.
Yeah, Tim, you can find me on Twitter for as long as it lasts at Blackmore Flan. I don't know if I'll stay there when they change over to whatever they're changing to, but whatever. You can, yeah, you
Right
can
at the
find
same
me,
time.
yeah, you can find me. I hope again on this channel. Hopefully, Guild Superior as well. In 2 weeks, I'll be back on Rainbows and Razor Blades with our Cyberpunk Red Season 3.
Wow.
It's the second longest campaign I've been a part of. So
Sweet.
gonna be pretty cool. On this next Thursday, I'll be playing in a game of Liberty that I don't know if it'll be on Twitch, but I don't know. But I'll be playing a 14-year-old who has nothing but bad stats. It's really, it's gonna be a challenge to survive post-apocalyptic world. But that's what I got going on, and future projects when they show up. So yeah.
Awesome. Yes. We will definitely see you again, Tim, because you are a blast to play with. So thanks, man.
Well, and I do want to thank my players and my GM and Miko too. You guys are amazing. It's been so much fun.
Thanks.
Pim's been the luckiest rabbit there is. So.
Oh, that's a great sentiment. I love that. So thank you, Tim. I appreciate it, buddy. All right, and of course, number one in our hearts, on the channel, on the stream, last tonight saying goodbye. Hi, Kay.
Hi.
As you all saw, Kay is amazing. They are awesome. So please tell everybody where they can find you, Kay.
Hi. Yeah, you can find me at Caden Cosmos on most things. This actually wraps up. I had a lot of games this month, and it wraps it up for me. I have some Eastera, I think, coming down the line, but like that's a few months from now. So maybe I'll need to find some more games to do until then. Might run some of my own. We'll see.
Ooh.
And yeah. I run trivia, free online trivia, Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Sly Fox Trivia. Please come. It's fun. I don't know.
Awesome. Yes.
Oh,
Great
yeah.
stuff.
And thanks for having me, everyone. Thank you for playing.
Thank you. Yes.
Can
this
I
was
add one
amazing.
thing, Kevin?
Please. Yeah.
If ever someone goes in that room where I left a creepy doll, let me know and I'll tell you what I said to the doll.
Okay. Yeah, I made a note about a few things you guys did tonight. Don't worry. Absolutely. So yes, as you can see, 4 great players. This was absolutely amazing. I'm blessed to play with you all. So thank you very much. I am Kevin, found online on the socials at KevRan Games. I am the main U.S. ambassador here for Notte Eterna, running all the stuff that is the U.S. premiere of all the stuff here. We do have a brand new arc that's starting up with some new folks in a different part of near, but as you can see, all of these stories are starting to intertwine into a common thread, a common narrative. So perhaps there will be some connections forming. But this was an absolute pleasure, an absolute joy. I want to thank, of course, first my players for being here. You guys brought such life and such joy into these characters. I had a blast the whole time. All 3 episodes were so much fun. I want to thank Miko, who is our producer, hiding behind the scenes. He did the custom art. He's also done these overlays and everything that we're seeing here. Great stuff. He's running all the music and everything. He's a godsend with that. But also I want to thank Jason Forbes for creating La Notte Eterna, Ali Ravelli for creating the game, letting us play it. And if you want to get in on the action, head on over to the website that's down below in the gobbledygoo, as they would say on certain other channels, and you can get your own version of the quick start and learn more about the setting so you can play it too. And finally, I want to give a shout out to the fact that we were listening to tabletop audio, doing all the cool music that we heard while we were battling for our lives and rewriting history, and also to just like I said, to you being out there and watching and hanging out. So thank you all so very much. As we like to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to raid a friend. We're going to go on over to Fuzka's channel. They're playing some cool games as well right now. So stay, hang out, check them out. This was an absolute joy. Thank you all so very much. I mean that truly, honestly. Thank you so much. So
Thank you.
until next time we meet, may the moon smile upon you. Good night.